What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out over at patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access. Follow me on X at Packers_access. Wherever you get your podcast, just search Packers Total Access. Join alongside Jacob in Wisconsin, and we're here to talk about the Packers' joint practice with the Arizona Cardinals today. We're going to kick this thing off with media availability, as I think GM Brian Gutekunst met with the media first. Got a couple little nuggets in there. It's going to be really interesting. I tried not to read it in real time, when it came out. I wanted to kind of read it for the first time with you guys so we can all react together. Then we'll get Matt LaFleur's little notes, I guess you could say, from his presser and jump right into practice. So we got a lot to cover here. Before we get into everything, do me a big favor, as your dumb says in the chat. Smack that like button for us. We greatly appreciate everybody joining us here. It's awesome. We already got this many people in here on a Wednesday afternoon, and that's how you know football's king, and the Packers are absolutely back. So with that being said, Jacob, how you doing, big dog?
I am geared up. I'm ready to go. I'm very, very excited to talk some Packers football. It's going to be an interesting day for sure. So grab yourself, what do you call them? Daddy sodas, maybe. If it's a little early, but we're talking Packer football. Maybe grab yourself some cheese curds, whatever you got to do.
Let's get coffee if you're old like me, trying to get woke up.
I was going to say, I'm drinking literally organically pressed strawberry lemonade. I know.
Strawberries from your garden, right?
Just lost my man card, but it's fine. It's fine. We're all good, man.
All right, man. Again, thanks to everybody. I see the chat is on fire. You guys are awesome. So let's waste no time. Let's get into some of what Goody said here. And I'm just going to kind of filter through my Packers news feed here. So Rob Demoski tweeted out Packers GM Brian Gutekunst on whether he'll step in if Matt and Mike LaFleur throw down at the 50 in today's Green Bay, Arizona joint practice. Quote, we're going to let that one go. I got money on my guys, what he says. So I love it. Love it. Goody's kind of having a good time with that whole thing there. By the way, USA Today ranks all the NFL stadiums. Number 1 is Lumen Field out in Seattle. Number 2, Lambeau Field, baby. 3, SoFi Stadium. 4, US Bank Stadium. And by the way, I know it's the Vikings and we hate them. Anybody I know that's went to that stadium, they're like, man, it's pretty sick inside. So you got to give credit where credit's due. I think they did it the right way.
Birds.
What's that?
It kills a lot of birds. Did you know that?
There you go. You heard it here first. You heard it from a
I'm not even joking. That's like a thing. They because of the reflective capability of it or whatever.
Yeah, what Alex Jones was talking about this morning, Jake.
No, man, birds aren't real, but they are dying. All right. So
that's all that matters, right? They may not be real, but they're hitting the side of that stadium, no doubt. Oh, man. And then number 5 was Allegiant Stadium out there at Vegas, which is another one that's on my list. I'm going to try to get out there soon. They say it's a cool venue. Anyway, just kind of combing through here some of the notes. Ryan Wood says Brian Gutekunst on Matthew Golden. Quote, I think he's much more confident in the scheme and what we're asking him to do. We talked about it all year last year, guys. It was all over the tape. And I know some people wanted to argue with us about it. And, well, he didn't run the right route. He ran the wrong route here. Any rookie that comes into this Matt LaFleur offense, people say, why is it so different? Why can't Matt get these rookies ready to go? Listen, here's the playbook. Here's what we're doing. If you don't read the DB correctly and you don't break that route off at 8 yards instead of 10, then you're not going to be in the right place. Therefore, the quarterback's not going to trust you. And they're probably not going to throw you the ball as much. Now, you've seen a little bit of that with Golden. I think that's getting nipped in the butt this year. And I think Golden, I have a sneaky feeling here that as much as I love Jaden Reed, and I think he's very underrated across most, the average of the fan base, I guess you could say, I think Christian Watson's a great receiver, right? I think those are 2 good signings. I think we look up at the end of the year if he stays healthy and go, damn, Matthew Golden's a superstar. This dude, somebody was the other day was comparing him like, what we've seen, don't he kind of look a little more like a Tyreek Hill type player, in terms of the twitch and whatnot? He doesn't have the top end speed of that, but I see what they were saying in confined spaces. He looked so natural catching that ball in double coverage the other day, just snagging it by his knee and continuing him up. I think we're going to look up and Matthew Golden's going to have a hell of a year. That's just me personally. So this is the big one here, though, that everybody's talking about, Jacob. I want to get your take on this. Ryan Wood said Brian Gutekunst on running back depth if Josh Jacobs misses with the suspension. Quote, I'm pretty confident we can sustain it. That doesn't mean we wouldn't do a claim, a claim on a running back, essentially what he's saying. But we'll deal with that when that comes. We obviously been preparing for that. I don't like how it's worded, but we'll deal with that when that comes. Not we'll deal with that if that comes. Now, maybe he meant that, and obviously the presser can get a little bit, out of whack. Here's what Matt Schneiden said. Brian Gutekunst said they've been preparing for a scenario of Josh Jacobs being suspended just to cover all their bases in case that happens. That sounds a little more reassuring to me that it's not like, okay, they're expecting him to get suspended. He's confident in the running back room behind Jacobs, but doesn't rule out one additional move. Said they'll tackle that if/when something happens. That sounds a lot better there, obviously. So it sounds like I love that Goody said didn't just give the quote Jacob of I'm not going to talk about that. It's an ongoing investigation. He actually said like, yeah, I mean, we're prepared for that if it happens. So it does show you that I think there is a realistic chance that the league could crack down on him, even though there haven't been charges formally pressed or anything like that. But what's your initial thought on that? Does that worry you a little bit, or do you think, nah, that's kind of where we've been the whole time?
I'm not going to say that it doesn't worry me. That, like you said, that verbiage there is a little bit interesting. That being said, that's why I think that I've been kind of ringing the bell that we need to have somebody like maybe a Pierre Strong on the back end of this roster just to kind of cover our bases a little bit. It feels like that it's lately the running back position in the last like 5 to 10 years has almost been kind of like skirted towards the bottom of the necessary. It just feels like you could pick up a guy off the street and they can play running back really well. And that's not a slight to any sort of running back in the league or any guys that are it just feels like they're kind of a dime a dozen sort of thing. That being said, I do feel like that, we don't know what we have quite in Marshawn Lloyd. I'm so excited about him and his success that he's been having in the early season, the preseason, and the fact that he's apparently being able to stay healthy, knock on wood. Chris Brooks, is pretty much a steady Eddie. And then I think Pierre Strong brings a different kind of niche to that organization and to that positional group that at this point, like we talked about, like just now, if there is sort of any sort of wrinkle that happens with the Josh Jacobs situation, I want to have somebody that has a little bit of versatility and that kind of thing in that running back room. And I wouldn't put it past us to maybe, again, knock the tires on a guy like Trey Benson if he gets that knee issue figured out. It just makes a little bit more sense to, like I said, cover your bases, make sure that you have that room under control. Because if we are going into this Super Bowl window with a lot of this unbelievably young talent, second year, third year guys coming into fruition, understanding what it is to make that type of role, if the running back room is the situation that gets us out of that, you know what I mean, out of the running, that would break me into pieces because it just seems like such an easy room to fill. Not easy, I should say, but like, you know what I mean? There's prospects out there. So hopefully we're doing our due diligence.
And the reality is Chris Brooks actually had a higher EPA per carry last year than both Josh Jacobs and Emmanuel Wilson. So it just goes to show you need a guy to pick up the yards that are out there. Now, the thing that's great about Josh Jacobs is, boy, he can get way more. When he's healthy, he can get way more than what's actually out there, obviously. So we've seen that the year before when he was fully healthy. Rod Demoski also tweeted out about the same thing. He said, you usually keep 3 or 4 running backs, and I think we have enough to do that, talking about the running back position. So we've got us penciled in for 3. That's where it gets tricky. If a suspension has not come yet on week 1, then you got to carry Josh Jacobs as if he's not going to get suspended. And then if you look up in weeks 2 or 3 and he gets suspended, you're going to have to call one up, sign one, what have you. So I can't imagine there won't be. Let me put it this way. If Josh Jacobs has not been suspended by the start of week 1, I don't think it'll happen. But I kind of feel like I wonder if that final week of the preseason is where they'll iron things out and make a final decision. And, once the decision's made, we may not even hear it. They may not go, okay, he's not going to be suspended. They may just let it linger, right? Because, again, the investigation is technically ongoing. So it is what it is in that regard. This is really interesting here. Moving on to Tucker Kraft talk. And Steph actually said in the chat here, Goop made me nervous what he said about Tuck's contract. I might be overreacting, though. So let's see some of the quotes here. And we're going to get everybody out to the practice field here in just a second. Obviously, they're not out on the field just yet. They may be just warming up. So we're just kind of going through the presser. Brian Gutekunst said he would love to reach an extension with Tucker Kraft before week 1. Notes that negotiations can be complicated and take time. Quote, we're excited for what Tuck's going to do for us this year and in the future. And then Ryan Wood had a separate one here that says, we would love to have that done. These things are complicated at times. Whether we accomplish that before the beginning of the season, we'll see. We're excited for what he's going to do for us this year and in the future. So, a little bit of extra context there from Ryan Wood. Ryan Wood does a phenomenal job giving all the details, by the way. If you guys are not following him, you're missing out. This is Goody understanding, guys, they hold the cards when it comes to Tucker Kraft. Like, if if they decide, nope, we're not willing to give you the bag, they can hit him with a franchise tag next year. And right now, it's this year's franchise tag for a tight end is $15 million. Well, that's $5 million less than the AAV. That's kind of the starting point for the Tucker Kraft contract, because as Adam Schefter reported a few weeks ago, it's going to start with a 2. That contract's going to start with a 2 AAV, meaning it's going to be 20 million plus. So Goody knows that. Goody's sitting in these negotiations. I'm not saying I agree with him. You guys know where I stand. Give Tucker some money, dude. Like, this is, this feels like Devontae Adams a little bit. It really does.
Yes.
Like, now here's the thing. Is Tucker willing to do what Devontae Adams was willing to do? Probably not, because Devontae Adams was willing to sit out. He was not going to play on the franchise tag. He said that, right? So why was he willing to do that? He had already made millions. Tucker has not made a whole lot of money. He was a 3rd-round pick, right? So it's not like he's had that big contract yet, which is another reason why I think they should give him a decent extension. So what Goody's going in there doing is like, guys, look, we don't have to get a contract extension done. We can just franchise tag you next year. And that can ruffle feathers. So the fact that it sounds like they're actually going to let Tucker Kraft practice today, I think I had read something about that. It might be right here. I know it's coming up here in a second, because we'll get to it in a second, I'm sure. I believe he's planning on practicing in the joint practice today, like full go. Right.
I did say that. See in the chat, they said he's going 11 on 11s tonight.
Yeah.
Today.
So again, that's Tucker being Tucker, man. This is no way, shape, or form. I don't think Goody is trying to send a message that Tucker isn't worth the money. Goody is just, this is how he does business, man. He knows he's got the leverage in this situation, because Tucker's not going to sit out. He's not going to hold out for a new contract. And next year, he may not even hold out for a new contract, because, again, even if he gets the escalator bonus or whatever it's called, and he makes $3 or $4 million next year, he's still probably not going to hold out to get that huge extension. When indeed, if they hit you with a franchise tag, guess what happens? You get $15 million fully guaranteed. He'd probably rather have that than take a lesser contract. I hope it gets done, but I think Goody's going to take it up to the last possible second. And I want to be very clear. I don't want this to be Monday morning quarterback by your boy Clayton here, okay? I said this will be done day 1 of training camp. I was wrong. I really thought they would prioritize this and get it done. Now, what happened leading up to that, Devontae Wyatt signed his deal, a very team-friendly deal. Christian Watson signed his deal, a very team-friendly deal. So they probably put a similar offer on the table to Tucker, and Tucker's going, hey, bub, nah, I deserve a little bit more than that. This offense runs through him, and I think we would all agree. So, again, the 11 on 11 thing was what I was trying to get to. But, Jacob, you kind of already alluded to it. It sounds like he is going to practice. Yeah, here we go. Ryan Woods says, Tucker Kraft is getting his wish. Matt LaFleur says, Packers star tight end will do team drills in today's joint practice against the Cardinals. His remarkable recovery from last year's torn ACL continues. So what's your thoughts on all of that, the contract, him practicing today? I'm going to be holding my breath all day, hoping that nothing happens to Tuck, because, man, he deserves that money. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that'd be my only pushback, is that, I don't want any sort of hindrance towards his rehability and all that kind of stuff. Or he's such an integral part of this offense. I mean, we saw it. I mean, and I think that he understands that, and that's why he's pushing back a little bit. He understands his worth. I mean, I know you, Clay, you're a businessman. If somebody is one of your best workers and they come to you with, a request that you like, I think that I'm underperforming as far as my pay goes, but I'm overperforming as far as my work goes. Mm-hmm. If you're a good business owner, you probably have to say, all right, well, let's look at that and let's see what this is. Goody, to your point, I think somebody in the chat said, I don't want to play poker against Goody. It seems like he's got that poker face. I would agree with that, but sometimes that can be a hindrance as well for the organization. I think that, to your point as well, let's not make this into a Devontae Adams thing. I sincerely do believe that Tucker Kraft, I know it's hyperbolic. I think he's the best tight end in the NFL league right now. And people are going to scoff and say Tyler Warren, George Kittle, Trey McBride, Kyle Pitts, whatever it's been on a small sample size, but I've seen when you're invested in your own team, obviously I'm a homer. We're on a Packers podcast. Take that with a grain of salt, whatever you want to say. I think that he has the capabilities to be Gronk 2.0. I really do. And he's maybe even a little bit better because he's a little more shifty. The Yak King is what I'm calling this dude, because he's got soft hands. He's got the perfect locker room mentality. He can block, Emilio. He can block. He can run routes like nobody's business. And like I said, he's almost like a wide receiver hybrid with the size and with the thunder that he brings in that tight end position. I would just say that I think that we need
Pay
to
that man his money.
just saying.
I agree, dude. I agree. Another interesting note here from Matt Schneidman. According to Matt LaFleur's grin when asked, it sounds like we're getting Packers wide receiver Bo Melton versus little brother and Cardinals cornerback Max Melton in one-on-ones today. So that's a really cool moment there. So,
dude, we got two LaFleur's, we got two J Loves, and we got two Meltons today on the field.
Two M LaFleur's too at
yes.
that, right? Like, it's crazy, dude. Crazy. So again, that's going to be a lot of fun though, seeing that all play out. There, this is just some extra stuff. They're just talking about the brothers. I gotta be honest with you. I'm not into the brothers story. I know there's been a lot of articles written and whatnot. I'm not knocking it. That's just not my cup of tea. Like, yeah, we know they're brothers and they're having a joint practice. It's gonna be cool seeing that moment of them out there on the practice field together. It's a great moment for their family. But everybody trying to turn it into something like it's just this big, interesting thing. I don't know, man. I'm just something I'm not interested in. Kelly Hallinan over on hope I'm saying the name right. Over on X. Tweeted this video out. Jeremiah Love heading to joint practice against the Packers, it says here. So is that Jeremiah Love or is that Micah Parsons? Because that kind of looked like Micah Parsons on that card just a second ago. Let's see here. Who is this on this card? No, that's Jeremiah Love, isn't it? Yeah. I initially seen the haircut and thought it was Micah. So, yeah, Jeremiah Love's going to be a great football player. It sucks that he's already hurt with the ankle. But, man, he runs hard. I watched him at Notre Dame his entire time there, and that dude never takes a play off. He's everything you want in a football player, no doubt about it. So let's see what our buddy Kevin Robinson, everybody go give him a follow over on X @ Kevin Robinson _ last public practice for the year. The Packers fans with the joint practice with the Cardinals. It's bittersweet. Going to miss being at practice every day, but that means football's almost here. Thanks to everyone that followed during camp. Hope you enjoyed camp as much as I did. Kevin, you crushed it, dude. If you're out there listening, appreciate you and everything you did. This training camp. Here's Trey Smack with the sidecar, right? Riding to practice, I should say. Trey Smack is the first one to bike over today's joint practice, man. So excited to have him as a Green Bay Packer, no doubt. Here we got Tucker Kraft riding a bike. He got a little bit extra ink on the bottom there, didn't he? Around the wrist, looks like. Yeah, all right. A little extra. Love it.
Can I interject real quick just on the Tucker Kraft?
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Our guy Bates, who always comes in clutch. Really interesting point here. He says Kraft's agent, Jack Bechta, also represents Kittle, Laporta, Ferguson, Gray, and our boy Tanyan. Interesting. Lots of tight ends. So he understands that market probably better than any other agent right now in the NFL.
Oh, absolutely. And they're looking to break Kittle. I think Kittle's at 19.1 million AAV, right. I believe. And again, it's more about the guaranteed money when it comes to anything else, to be honest with you. That's like Tucker would take a significant, he would take less than less than 20 million per AAV if it's 70 or 80% guaranteed. The Packers don't do their contracts like that. So we'll probably see a 20 plus AAV with a far less signing bonus guaranteed money, if you will. So here's Jordan Love giving out some high fives on the bike over to today, the bike ride over to today's practice. So J Love, I love the teddy bear on the handlebars. That's how my bicycle looks here at the house too, man.
Same.
Setup.
Yeah,
there he is. Which, by the way, man, Jordan Love, how blessed are we to have him as our quarterback? Just unbelievable. Two of the NFL's best tight ends who wear 85 will be at joint practice today. As you can see here, Trey McBride. Trey McBride's a beast too. If I had to pick between him and Tucker, I'm taking Tucker. There's no doubt about it. But I can understand the people that would pick Trey McBride as well. He's got more pelts on the wall. There's no doubt about that. Definitely, statistically, and you can see he's an absolute unit. He's a tank out there, man. No doubt about it. Just combing through, so you're seeing all the bike rides. I love the fact that they let the Cardinals participate in this too, Jay.
That's such a cool thing to me, also, because it gives these guys an opportunity to understand. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to crap on the Arizona Cardinals, but that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And like I said, I've lived in Nashville. There was nobody in the stands to watch the Titans do anything like this. Like, it's just, there's a very unique situation where you come to Green Bay and you get absolutely ingrained with the community. If you haven't been there, it's literally you're just driving through like one level homes. There's no big downtown. There's no high rise. And all of a sudden you just see the Mecca of what is Lambeau Field. And it's just like one of the most unique experiences you can ever have. It's a blessing that we have what we have. And I think a lot of people got to recognize that. And it's really cool to see other teams doing it as well.
Yeah, and I will say the first time I went to Green Bay was in 2003, I believe it was. And when I went to Green Bay the first time, we drove up. It was a 14-hour ride, and I would never forget crossing the bridge just south of Alloway and seeing the stadium off in the distance. And the best way I know to describe it, looked like a ghost ship or something. There was a little bit of a haze. You could see it off in the distance. It was black. I looked at my then girlfriend, now wife Mandy, and I said, "That damn thing's really up here. I can't believe this, man. We drove all the way up here, and it's actually sitting up here. It's wild." So it was just a cool moment. I was hooked from that day forward, being a Packer fan for sure. So Jacob, we got a fantasy question here from Blake B. Go Pack Go. It says, Jacob, which Arizona wide receiver do you like better in fantasy this year, Marv or Michael Wilson? This would be a good chance. Give that a little bit of thought. And I'm going to give a shout out to our sponsors today, and that is obviously the good folks over at Prize Picks. Guys, it is a scorching sports summer, and you can make all your picks on Prize Picks. We got women's basketball and baseball heating up. You know football season's here, baby. We've been waiting on it. We're ready to roll. You got big tennis slams. You got major golf tournaments on the horizon. There's no better place for all your summer sports picks than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. You guys know we've been watching Packers camp closely. We've been putting together lineups throughout the preseason. We've been very, very successful with that. Been a lot of fun organizing all that. I love that you can stack. You can pick more or less on these plays. You can on their stats. You can stack it right alongside a game winner from another sport in the same lineup. One lineup, one app, all the picks, everything right here at Prize Picks. And then of course with the preseason here, there's no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. You got star players on new teams. We talked about Jeremiah Love. That's going to be a fun one to keep up with this year. Carson Beck, will he win the starting job in Arizona? Another one to keep an eye on as well. You can make up a lineup with player stats, pick game winner, spreads, or totals, and combine your picks in the same lineup, all on Prize Picks, now available in all 50 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. So just strictly fantasy question there, and what Blake was asking, Jacob, who do you like better there, Marv or Michael Wilson?
That's a tough question because Marv has had a pretty shaky offseason. There's actually been quite a bit of footage of him just dropping easy passes, and obviously it comes from absolute NFL pedigree of no other with Marvin Harrison. Michael Robinson is pretty sneaky, or I'm sorry, Michael Wilson is very, very sneaky, one of the better number 2s in the league right now. But you have to take in consideration that they do have a guy like Trey McBride, and you have to take in consideration that the fact that Jacoby Brissett is presumably their start, which also might actually lead to the fact where if you look at a guy like Jacoby Brissett, and I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, obviously he's been in this league a long time. I kind of liken him to a guy like Tyrod Taylor, where he's been around, he's been through multiple different franchises, he knows what he's doing. But if you start, I mean, that's a tough division as well. He's probably going to be doing a lot of dump offs to the running backs, a lot of dump offs to the tight ends, just easy kind of give me the underneath stuff. I would hesitantly go with Michael Wilson a little bit over Marv. I'm not going to lie. But that being said, they're both kind of going. If you want a fantasy deal, I would say go with Michael Wilson because you can get him at a discount way deeper in the draft where he could be that number 1.
A little bit better value, right?
Yeah, a little bit better value. Yeah.
Got it. Pac-Man 44 says, which will Sweat switch uniforms? That's hard to say. In the middle of practice today. So we talked about this last night. It's very interesting that he's activated off the pup immediately when they go to Green Bay to practice with the Packers. So it does kind of make you wonder, are they going to try to work out a deal? Is Sweat actually going to play for the Cardinals? Maybe that's, water under the bridge now, and he's ready to move forward with Arizona. I haven't seen anything reported there. It's just really, really fascinating that the day that he decides, I'm ready to go now, we're good to go, is the joint practice with the Packers. I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't. So you can see here, Alec tweeted this out, quote tweeted Matt Schneidman, who posted a picture of Josh Sweat on the sideline. One thing about it, he looks like he's in great football shape. So obviously he's someone who's been in the league for quite some time. Moving through here, a little mic'd up. There's the Melton brothers, all right? So you see them together on the sideline. That's got to be a really, really interesting moment or a great moment for that family. Obviously, I'm sure they're at practice watching it all unfold. Big day starting in a moment is what Bill Huber says. So he put an article out with the roster bubble guys. These players need big days. So you guys go check that article out. We kind of talked about it yesterday, Jacob. We had it narrowed down to a few different players. Like you feel like there's room on the roster for J. Michael Sturdivant to be a seventh receiver if you see his value that good, right? You also see a scenario there where you might be able to carry an extra DB if you think you need to, or an extra D tackle. Maybe you carry Nas Stackhouse, you carry Jonathan Ford, and you carry Anthony Campbell. I don't think they will, but we did have an extra spot where you can make that work if you wanted to make it work. It's going to be fascinating to see how that all plays out as we get closer to cut downs and whatnot. Easton Butler tweeted out important information here. Javon Bullard will practice today. So that's great news. That's your starting slot defender. We know, of course, Kamal Haddon had been filling in. He seems to be the number 2 slot corner, which I think it pretty much makes him a lock for this roster. He seems to have beaten Oladapo out for that backup slot corner spot. So that's another thing we're going to be keeping an eye on today. But with Javon Bullard being in the house today, Jacob, I think that's great news. This was probably a part of the plan the whole time, right? They were looking, hey, let's get him healthy for this joint practice so we can get some really good work in.
Yeah, I agree. And, joint practices, I would argue it's probably a little more beneficial than a preseason game because as we've seen, the starters, they really don't get a lot of reps when you get into these preseason games. You maybe get 1 series, 2 series tops, whereas these joint practices, especially when Matt LaFleur, I don't know if you've noticed this, but he over reiterates the fact that like this will not be chippy. We are not going to be doing like if anybody kind of does inappropriate things or gets too aggressive, like it's known that both these sides of the coaching staffs will be absolutely livid with them. Like this is supposed to be, it's almost I don't know if it rubs me the wrong way because it's like they're saying to each other, like, we're going to basically patty cake each other, but we're going to give each other different looks. We're going to have different jerseys, right, for the first time, like other than any other practice we've had. It feels as if that they are kind of just explaining to each other, like, we're going to go 70%. And if you get that extra 30%, like there's going to be hell to pay with both of these coaching staffs. Like, I kind of like it. I kind of don't. It is what it is at this point. And just to circle back real quick, in case you were wondering, the Prize Picks, thank you, Prize Picks. If you wanted to place a bet on the season stats, Micah Wilson is set at 699.5.
Actually, a square is what it's called, Jacob. Place a square. But go ahead, sir. What do you got?
All right. Marvin Harrison, 824.5. So only 25 yards more than that. And then our boy that we were talking about, the tight end there, Mr. Trey McBride, is at 975.5. So they see the tight end going number 1, slightly number 2, Marv, and then slightly behind that, very slightly, between 30 yards is going to be your guy, Micah Wilson. So just an interesting little wrinkle that I thought was worth mentioning.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. All right, let's go to the chat here real quick. Drew D says, Sweat is an interesting storyline. It is, man. We talked about it last night. It's just fascinating, the timing there. H.E. Soder says they might be able to move Shepard, Nair, or Sturdivant as part of a Sweat deal. Cardinals could use a wide receiver. Be another way to utilize the fact that you've seemed to land 3 pretty solid bottom of the roster wide receivers there, right? So that might be a play. Let's see here. Nebraska Rev said, which young guy are you willing to lose to make room for Sweat? That's the thing. We've got spots available. You don't have to lose a young guy necessarily. The people that we talked about potentially going to the practice squad, like Nigel Kelly. Do you think he's done enough to earn a spot on the 53? I personally don't think he has. I'm okay with trying to get him to the practice squad and somebody else picks him up. They pick him up, but that's the thing. Like when you say make room for Sweat, that's a perfect example. We've got room on the roster on the 53 when we do our projection, right? You've got a little bit of wiggle room there on the bottom side of the roster that you could potentially keep Nigel Kelly. So if you just put Nigel Kelly on the practice squad, guess what? Bang, you got room for Sweat right there. So it's really, I was surprised. Usually we get to the bottom of the 53-man roster and I'm like, oh man, I don't know what to do here. It was the opposite this year, Jacob. We get to the last 3 or 4 and we're like, hey, we got room. Like we still got 3 spaces left or what have you. And they may not carry a long snapper to the 53 initially like they did last year. I think it was last year they did that to finagle their way around the entire, getting guys on the roster that they wanted in terms of, the younger guys. So going to be interesting though, for sure. I think that we had one more. No, that was it. So we're all caught up there. Let's see if any other updates have come in yet. I'll hit refresh here on the Packers news feed that we got. Looks like we're still stuck at the Bullard will practice today. So Let's see what we got in the chat here real quick. Got a little bit of a dead time.
Oh, man.
Here we go. This one's interesting. Mitch Goodwin. I knew I'd seen this in here. Mitch Goodwin says we should offer Colin Oliver and a third for Josh Sweat, and then Nixon and a fourth plus a sixth for Joey Porter Jr. Would still have a second and like three fourth-round picks and later rounds with comp picks. Problem is, I think he went on to say something else. Problem is, we would have to cut players next year. I don't think we could keep everyone without restructuring a bunch of deals. I'm not as big on Porter. The thing about Porter for me, Mitch, and I think he's a good football player, but it would be the definition of overpaying for good, not overpaying for great. Right. I think he's a good corner, but he's wanting to reset the cornerback market. We did that a few years ago. We did it with Jair, and it didn't work. It didn't work out. It's not to say we done pissed Jacob off. It's not to say that Jair wasn't a good football player, but he didn't get you over the hump, right? Because cornerback is not as important a position as, say, an edge or what have you. So in terms of trading Colin Oliver and a third for Josh Sweat, just keying in on that one there, I don't like it personally. I think if they're not willing to accept the third for Josh Sweat, the guy's 30 years old, or he's going to be 30, right? Might actually be over 30. He's already had problems with the knee, and it's going to be one of those deals that's probably a one-year rental. You know, you got $10 million against the cap this year, I think is what will carry over to the Packers if they traded for him. And then when you go to cut him loose or go to look next year, that cap number is going to blimp, and you got to make a decision. Do you restructure, guarantee some of the money, or do you just cut him loose and let him go? So I like it more of a one-year rental with just a draft pick. Colin Oliver is fascinating to me. And again, I think some people see Colin Oliver as a superstar. I don't see him there. But I do see a player that, man, in a third down situation, he can get after the quarterback. So seeing you shaking your head, Jacob, do you agree or disagree? Would you trade Colin Oliver in a third for Josh Sweat, or do you think that's just too much there?
No, I wouldn't. I still have a lot of hope for Colin Oliver. I think that he is just cracking the potential that he has in this league. A third rounder is very expensive, in my opinion. I'm a cheap guy. All right. I understand that. Very fiscally conservative, if you want to say that like that. But I just, to me, it doesn't make sense. To your point, like we have a lot of guys in that edge room that I think that are absolutely capable of flourishing this year. And like kind of what she says, like to me, that's too much for a rental. And that's exactly what you just described there. And that's no knock against Sweat. If we get Sweat, I'm going to be pumped, right? Like I'm not going to be, the second you put on the green and gold, man, like I will die for you, man. Like we'll go to bat for each other. But that being said, with that much draft capital and probably, like I said, even if it's a 10 mil, 11 mil year contract kind of thing, it just seems a little too high in my opinion. But if the situation is right, again, I'm going to be very excited to see Josh Sweat on this team. I just don't know if it's going to come to fruition in the way that a lot of the fan base thinks it will.
Yeah. .com in the chat says a third alone is high. I agree with that.
I agree.
Fidel Smith says a third is great compensation. All right. So he kind of feels like he's probably in the right ballpark. Yeah. A rental that costs a lot, says Wolfpack. Absolutely. So, H.E. Soder says the baby Parsons talk on Oliver had me wondering about how they feel about his value. I mean,
that's a good point.
Yeah, baby Micah. And again, you've seen it in the preseason game in Pittsburgh where he literally he jab steps outside. He starts like he's going to do an outside speed rush, comes back inside, smacks the tackle in the mouth. The tackles literally stumble straight backwards. As he goes through the tackle's inside shoulder, he hits the running back in the mouth, knocks him backwards, and then comes back to his left and puts the tackle on his ass and gets pressure on the quarterback. Yeah. It's like that looked like Micah. I'm sorry, it did. And again, the difference between players like Colin Oliver and Micah Parsons, it isn't that they can't show flashes of a similar, ability. It's just doing it play in and play out consistently. And the way Micah plays the run, obviously, is fascinating as well. So if you guys would do me a big favor, we've got 326 watching live on YouTube, only 54 likes. Do me a big
almost favor. 600 watching total. Come on, guys. Get them likes up.
Just take a quick second. We greatly appreciate it, man. I appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this Wednesday afternoon for just such a random stream. But just do us a big favor. Hit that like button real quick. And if you're new here, go ahead and sub to the channel, man. We'll be getting you information throughout the rest of training camp. I like what Alex says here on X, Jacob. He says, things I'm looking for today in Packers joint practice. The ones on offense and defense, completely agree with that. I want to see if Jonathan Ford going to be out there, or is Javon Hargrave healthy enough to practice in 11-on-11s? That's the big question, right? With injuries to Williams, Oliver, and Brinson, does Anthony Campbell, as well as one of Nair, Sturdivant, or Shepard flash today? Josh Sweat, obviously, he says, and in the Melton brothers battle. So, going to be interesting to see who lines up with the ones there, specifically on defense. I think it will be Keyshawn on one side at corner, and it'll be Brandon Cisse on the other. I think that's what I'm kind of expecting. But it is going to be fascinating to see what happens there in the middle, because Brinson, guys, he was sneaky good in the pass rush last year. But Anthony Campbell has just looked like an animal. And then every time we start to brag on Anthony Campbell, Jonathan Ford shows up. What did he do in preseason? All he was the highest graded interior defender according to PFF in the entire league. An elite 90-something grade. Now,
that's crazy.
Look at what he's done throughout history, Jacob, and you go, one of these don't belong, and it's the 90, the 91 elite grade. But at the same time, he's made the most of his opportunities. I think there's a legit shot he makes this roster, man.
I agree with you. And you know what? We've talked about how so many different times it's not necessarily the fact that you're a bad NFL player. It's the situation that you were put into doesn't necessarily dictate how well you're going to play and how well you're going to absolutely perform on the field. I think that right now, I mean, how cool is it that we have so many different players that literally are like, I want to go to Green Bay. I want to play for Gannon. I would argue that Jonathan Ford, he's talked about it. He's been in the Packers organization. He's went, I believe, to the Bears. He's went to other organizations as well and said that this just feels right for me and what the type of game that I play is. Like, that's pretty exciting. I'm over the moon at the fact that we have ourselves a defensive coordinator that obviously has the pedigree of being a head coach, but also has guys that are really high-performing athletes that are literally willing to follow him around the league and just be like, can I come play for you again, coach? That, to me, speaks more volumes than anybody. I don't give a crap what your ESPN analyst says or what this guy says on NFL Network. Like, I want to hear from the players what they want, just like Caldwell's saying right here. Hargrave 2 came for Gannon. Exactly. That's my point. It's like they understood that this coach got the best out of me. He squeezed every single last bit of juice out of that lemon. Like, it's exciting to think that maybe there's another all 11 guys now feel that way for Gannon, and all of a sudden we're going to see a certain type of effort. You add in the absolute terror, just freaking psychopath that is Zaire Franklin on the field, which I'm here for. Let's go, dude. I love the fact that he has my certain type of crazy. It's going to be fun to see, dude.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. So you see here, Caden on X says, I'm blessed to be able to witness the GOAT Trey Smack kick in person. I don't think there has ever been a player in Packers history that went from, and this isn't a shot at Caden. I didn't see Caden say anything negative. But, man, when he was missing, there was a lot of fans like, oh, my God, we've got another bad rookie kicker. And it was within 2 weeks, Jacob. Now it's like he is a fan favorite. Been absolutely perfect in obviously preseason games. Yeah, I'm excited that I think we got us a kicker. Doesn't mean there's not going to be ups and downs. There's going to be ups and downs. We all know that, right? But again, I love his approach, and I'm going to continue to say it. Matt LaFleur caught a lot of help for how he was handling this kicker situation. When he told the officials stop signaling in practice, we don't want him to even focus on whether it goes through or not. We want him to focus on hitting a good ball. That's it. People were calling him soft, and this is so, this is not how you get a kicker ready. And then a week and a half later, he's absolutely perfect. Those same people that were dogging the coaching staff and the other thing too is Cam Akers, right? Out there in Pittsburgh, it was a 58-yarder. Matt said kicking unit, and Cam literally ran to Matt, the special teams coordinator ran to Matt and said, no. And he went, yeah. Like, put his ass out there. I want to see if he can hit it. Like, Matt is literally, for everyone who's, not everyone, but for the crowd that says that, right? They're saying that, hey, this dude, Matt is making it too soft on this kicker. Matt's the one who forced him to go out there in Pittsburgh and kick that kick, right? So, again, I think Matt has handled it perfect, and I think it's everything is lining up with that personally. So,
yeah, I agree, man. It is an interesting dynamic. Like Tim will always be the guy that's gonna plant that flag, as he was the smack dude right away, and it's like Hagorn Builders saying smack got hot at the right time. He feels like he's just a gamer, man. Like when the lights are on, when the pressure's on, and what more could you ask for from a kicker? Like that's exactly the type of mentality that you want from a guy like that. Like it's impressive. Obviously, he was at a very high touted college, a lot of pressure there as well. But coming into the NFL, it's a whole different ball game, and I'm just proud of him that he's handled it the way he has. I mean, he is absolutely freaking crushing them. I mean, I'm talking crushing them to the point where he's making 59-yarders that could be good from 65, 67, maybe even a bit lard. Like it's what more can you ask for from a guy like that? And it was really, really cool to see like Longwell and guys coming back and just kind of trying to coach this guy up and saying like, don't change the way that they kick. Just try to maybe dictate. That's what Cam Acord, I believe, is so integral into this. I really sincerely believe that he has absolutely overhauled the special teams unit in a way that, I'll be honest, I never really disliked Bisaccia whatsoever, but I did feel like he was a little bit overhyped just in certain instances. But I think that Acord takes a completely different coaching approach where he's so much more hands-on. He's a younger guy. He's very physical. He comes up in these guys' faces. Like he's out there literally showing you in press conferences, like, this is what I'd do. Like he's just, I don't know if he's jacked up on Mountain Dew or something else. I don't care. Don't give it away from him. Right. Just let him keep doing what he's doing. It's pretty exciting to see it.
Yeah, it is, man. And now we got some warm-up information coming in here. Andy Herman tweets out, in warm-ups, it looks like the starting line is once again going to be Jordan Morgan, left tackle, Aaron Banks, left guard, Sean Ryan, starting center, Jacob Monk, right guard, and Zach Bako-Biwele is at right tackle. So no surprise there. It looks like everybody's finally healthy. It looks like Banks is good to go. And here's the thing. Here's how I want them to handle the Banks situation, guys. His ass needs to start, and he needs to play from this point forward. There's no more, well, we got to kind of cater it. No, you either, if he can't go, he can't go. Put him on IR. But this whole idea that we're just going to kind of, all right, he's never going to practice, and he's not Chad Clifton. They used to call Chad Clifton the Lamborghini, I think is what they called him, right? The big red Lamborghini. And they said you only bring it, as Mark Tauscher saying this all the time. You only bring it out when you're ready to go out on the town. You don't bring it out during the week or whatever. You just bring it out on the weekends, baby. And Chad Clifton was good enough to do that. Brian Balago was talking about how rare it is to find an offensive lineman that can do that. They can just not even practice all week, then go out there on Sunday and perform. Sorry, I'm over the whole Aaron Banks thing. Like if you're too hurt to play, then you're too hurt to play. It is what it is. But this idea that we're just gonna, you're not hardly ever gonna practice, and then we're just gonna put you out there to start. Just can't handle it, man. And again, I want to see what other people can do at that position. You hear all the former offensive linemen talk about how important it is to have that chemistry. When you're running duo blocks, which we've done a lot in the last 2 to 3 years, even in outside zone, being able to know where each other's range is, both on your left and your right. If you're a left tackle, you got to know what the tight end, the attached wire, the U is going to be able to do in terms of getting horizontal and reaching their blocks. You got to know what the right guard can do on your right. In the right guard's case, he's got to understand, he's got to practice and have these 11-on-11 drills, and Aaron Banks to know what can Sean Ryan handle at center and what can Jordan Morgan handle at left tackle. So you just got to be out there. And again, I'm not here to dog players that are hurt. If you're hurt and you can't play, I get it. But if it's one of those things where I'm going to kind of pick and choose when I'm going to practice because this young rookie in Jagger Burton looks like he might take my job, that's not what's best for the team. So, yeah. Exactly right. Clifton is a Lamborghini. I believe they said Lamborghini. It was some kind of sports car. But if you guys listen to Wildy and Tausch, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's so true, man. It is. All right, so we got some clips here. Kevin Robinson showing it's great to see Deni Dennis-Sutton back at practice. You see 51 out there putting in some work, recovering the fumble drill there. Jacob, he does not look like a rookie. That dude, he looks like an absolute animal. You'll see him walk in. He's picking up the ball right now. Okay? Look at that dude. That's a grown-ass man right there, dude. It's hard to believe he's 1 year removed from college.
I agree. That's honestly the only, I wouldn't call it necessarily a disappointment, but one of the just things that kind of, I wanted to see him absolutely eat the first 2 weeks of preseason, and we just haven't gotten to see it. So I'm grateful that we get to see him now coming back, looking pretty healthy, looking pretty vicious. And hopefully in week 3, I want to see that guy play like 2 quarters at least. Like I want to see him absolutely go and feast upon, which I would assume would be maybe Carson Beck, at that point. I don't know if they're going to play Jacoby there, but it's going to be fun to see, man. I really do believe that he is going to be a difference maker. And another guy that, if you ask the national media, they wouldn't even have him on his radar whatsoever, which is why I think that they're kind of poo-pooing down the edge room here, because they just, you're calling Cowherds, all these type of like talking heads. They look at the Green Bay Packers edge room and they think, no Micah. Well, that means there's no production. There's not going to be anything. Little do they know that we have a lot of freaking young guns that are ready to absolutely start shooting, and it's going to be great.
And I want to thank everybody for taking a quick second to hit that like button. Y'all did that when we asked a second ago. We're almost to 400 live viewers on YouTube now. That's what happens when y'all just take a quick second and hit the like. So thank y'all so much. If you just jumped in, smash that like button, settle in. We're going to be bringing in all the updates from practice. It's pretty cool. Matt Schneider tweeted out, Denny LaFleur said it was tough choosing his outfit for a joint practice between his 2 sons. Here's what he settled on. So he's got the red polo for the Cardinals, and he's got the Green Bay Packer visor on. So Papa Denny out there representing. You talking about proud parents, man. To have 2 sons become head coaches in the league at the same time, like how rare is that? And to fall back, I mean, I meant to mention this a second ago and I got sidetracked, Jacob, trying to block an idiot over on Rumble, but a story for a different day. So you were talking about Trey Smack. It's my understanding that the only time in Packers history, okay, that a kicker was perfect in the preseason, I believe it was a rookie kicker was perfect in the preseason, was Ryan Longwell. So if that's any indicator of what we may have in Trey Smack, I'm not trying to set unrealistic expectations, but imagine us having the next Ryan Longwell kicking kicks in Lambeau for the next 5 to 10 years. me likey that jam for sure. That's going to be absolutely awesome. So here we see Javon Bullard back at practice. This is what Bates was talking about. Bull looking nice out there. Foot doesn't appear to be an issue.
Oh, look at that, dude. He's chopping. He's chopping, bro. Let's go.
He looks so different. I followed him all offseason. Not followed him like a weirdo, followed him around, but followed his IG story and whatnot, right? Like I said, no, it checks out. You're kind of weird. So his IG stories, and I know it's workout videos and whatnot. Some people don't take them serious, but man, I was just like, this dude is so damn explosive. Man, look at the footwork and watch him drive. Change the direction. I think he's in for a big year. I'm so glad that he's going to be manning that slot defender position for us. And it's going to be very interchangeable, guys, just to be 100% transparent. Jonathan Gannon has said he wants his slot corners to be safeties, essentially. They need to be able to play safety. What does that mean? It doesn't mean they're going to line up 3 deep every play. They will line up some 3 deep looks, but rather than pressing the 2 out of the slot, they may line them up 5 to 7 yards off the ball, and they'll have an invert look where that slot defender is now covering a deep quarter or a deep half, whether it's a quarter, half, or a half quarter look, a cover 6 look. What they're going to be able to do there is buzz the safety down and show a lot more sugar pre-snap, where essentially what you're showing is if a slot corner's 5 yards off the ball and you got a safety playing deep behind him, you think, okay, the safety's playing deep. And then 2 seconds before you snap the ball, you've made all your checks at the line, late rotation from the safety, and all of a sudden the slot corner goes from covering the 2 in a match look to taking a deep quarter. Now the quarterback's got to adjust post-snap, and he's got to hope like heck that the receiver that might be the hot read if you're bringing some kind of pressure off the opposite side to get to the right answer. You're just increasing your chances of making the offense make a mistake. And Micah Parsons was actually talking on a podcast. It might have been his own podcast earlier today. I seen the video where he's talking about people. We're going to be a pressure defense is what he said. People aren't understanding that. Like you hear quarters coverage from Jonathan Gannon's pass, you think, okay, you're just going to drop back and cover 4. You might show palms occasionally. You're probably going to be in quarters match the majority of the time. You might just be in normal country quarters from time to time. But it sounds like they were going to dial up the pressure. That's coming from Micah. And you go, okay, well, that's just Micah talking. Maybe he didn't mean it. You go back to all the reports coming out of camp where we were mugging Edgerrin Cooper on the edge from time to time. And then you heard Javon Bullard saying, man, he's showing some really, really wild looks, he being Jonathan Gannon, pre-snap. Sounds like that's what we're going to roll with. You've seen it in Pittsburgh. You've seen a little bit of it, too. We were mugging in Denver a little bit as well. When I say mugging, you're putting 6 to 7 on the line of scrimmage like you're blitzing and dropping those guys out. That is what Hafley did really, really well his first year as DC. Second year, we didn't do it near as much because I think he relied too much on Micah just getting after the quarterback. So regardless, Javon Bullard's going to be a big part of it, Jacob.
No, I agree, man. And if you guys have watched the pod for more than a year or two, you'll understand why the whole moniker of the human meat missile came about because of Javon Bullard. If you go back and watch his tape in college, what's more excited about me is the fact that he has taken that step in the coverage game, like you talked about, and his willingness to just put his shoulder down and absolutely disrupt any sort of offensive scheme that's coming into his zone. Like he is the epitome of what I want my corners to be, just absolute demons that are willing to, like I said, put their shoulder down, go make a play, but also have the intricacies and the abilities to kind of drop back into some coverage. I think that he is, I wouldn't say slowly, but like quickly probably rising up to being one of the best slot defenders in this league. And I think he's going to show a lot of people that this year. And it's really, really cool too to see a guy like Kamal Hadden kind of in that, like, worst case scenario, knock on wood, I always say that, but like if something happens to him, I have a confidence in Kamal Hadden. I feel like that he's learned from Bull that you can be aggressive but also tentative when you have to have that slot position, because you have to do a lot. You know what I mean? Like you got to read, you got to react, you have to be able to flow with whatever the offense is giving you, that kind of thing. I would argue also that Javon Bullard just seems like his FBI has increased, which is impressive because, like I said, coming out of college, you'd watch this guy. He was a reactor. Like he was very, very quick on diagnosing plays and whether he had to come up and stuff the run or drop back and get the pass. And that's something that I think takes a lot of these guys 2, 3, 4, 5 years to actually get a grasp of. I think that he's almost had a grasp of that. And you look at the way that he moves back and forth, man, that dude is an athletic freak as well.
Yeah. Bill Huber here with a tweet going out. St. Juice and Bullard are back, and you can see kind of St. Juice's footwork looking pretty solid there too. That dude's 6'3". Love the range that he has. Plays really well underneath. Great zone defender. Okay, this is kind of the scouting report on Benjamin St. Juice. 6'3", long frame, long wingspan. Right. Plays zone is his strength, no doubt about it. And his man coverage isn't bad, but his zone is really, really good. I think he was the top graded zone defender at cornerback, I should say, according to PFF last year. It was like 300 plus snaps too, right? But his ability to drive on the ball underneath is kind of what he does good. It's like he feels so confident in his ability to recover because I think he's got a 4.4 140 maybe, or maybe a little bit. I know it's under a 4.5, but also that extra reach. So he feels like he can play a little more aggressive underneath and still rebound if he gets somewhat beat on a double move. But Benjamin St. Juice looking good. So you can see now the Cardinals are taking the field with the Packers. See J Love warming up. Cam Achor, this is Kyle Malzahn tweeted out, Cam Achor just yelled to the Cardinals coach that he's going to be the 12th man during the special teams drill. So they're having a good time with it out there. Sounds like there's good energy, good vibes. Hopefully a fight doesn't break out today and somebody gets hurt, because I was going through Twitter earlier today, Jacob, and there was 2 players that got carted off on one play at a joint practice today. So want to stay away from that, obviously. So Mike Spofford said Packers defensive players wearing white as well today. The Cardinals all wearing red. In that DB cluster is cornerback Benjamin St. Juice, who has returned to practice. So now we get a true feel, a true check here on who is potentially in the lead for that number, or that starting corner opposite of Brandon Cisse. If it's Keyshawn that goes out there, he's in the lead, because we can't just say, oh, it's because Benjamin St. Juice wasn't at practice, right? Benjamin St. Juice gets a nod, then it feels like, okay, Benjamin St. Juice might have the early lead there. Again, I think it's Keyshawn Nixon at the moment, but I think that could change really quick. So you can see everything kind of coming together here for practice. Make sure I didn't miss anything.
If I could, sorry, just to quickly interject, if you guys could just take a 1 second, hit the like. We got over 800 people watching on all platforms right now. So if you could just take a like.
We got 163 likes in YouTube and 414 watching. So if y'all just jumped in, do us a big favor, hit that like button. It's the only cost of admission today. Just hit the like button for us. We would appreciate it. Jonathan Gannon getting a lot of hugs and high fives from his former players at Arizona. One thing's for sure, Jacob, his players loved him down there in Arizona, man. There's no doubt about that. Like, I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about it. Now, the media portrayed it like, oh, he's quirky, they didn't like him, blah, blah, blah. There's not been one player come out and go, yeah, glad that guy's gone. Hell, Josh Sweat wanted to come with him to Green Bay, right? So it's obvious that his team really likes him. Bo Melton just scored a touchdown against his brother in the red zone in 1-versus-1. So strikes first. That's Caden Sanila. I hope I'm saying the name right there, Caden. Appreciate you, buddy. He's a great follow on X too, guys. Go give him a follow. at Caden,
That's awesome.
Cadnsunila. Home games, he's always in the crowd giving you some awesome shots. So make sure you give him a follow. Yeah, everybody confirming here. Marcus Eversole just tweeted out first play of joint practice. Bo Melton cooks Max Melton in a slant and one-on-ones with both teams.
Let's
watching.
go.
Hashtag brotherly loves. You love to see it there. Got Jonathan Gannon's sporting the bucket hat, evidently, surrounded by his former players. You see them all dapping up and giving him love. Big B, our Bo Melton is so much better. Love it. Our Melton is much better. That's just everybody kind of confirming that same play. So there you see
lock the China up, dude. The boys are going at it again.
Yeah,
let's go.
That's right. Ready to go. Love it. Brian Gutekunst's already separating the two brothers, standing between Matt and Mike. Obviously, Goody at his presser said he's not going to get in the middle of it. If they go at it, he's going to let them scrap. But he said he's got money on his guys. Is what going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have all kinds of action coming your all's way. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us, man. This probably be a good time to give a quick shout out to the folks that are helping make this happen today, and that's our good friends over at Prize Picks. Guys, it's a Scorching Sports summer. You can make all your picks on Prize Picks. You got women's basketball, baseball. It's not just about football here, man. You got football preseason cranking up, don't get me wrong, but all these other sports, big tennis slams, major golf tournaments on the horizon. There's no better place for your summer sports picks than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. You guys know we've been watching camp closely. We've been putting lineups together based off of what we're expecting in these preseason games. We'll continue to do that this Friday night. We'll be doing a pregame show talking about some of our picks here from Prize Picks. So what I love about it is you can pick more or less on their stats. You can stack it right alongside a game winner from another sport. You can go to baseball, get a game winner from your favorite team in baseball, and you can group it with some of these stats, put it in the same lineup. You got one lineup, one app, all the picks with football preseason here. It's an exciting time, and we're trying to learn these new players and their new spots, how they're going to fit into the schemes. You got rookie players taking over. You got free agent signings that obviously are settling into their new place. You can make a lineup with all their stats, pick game winners, spreads or totals, and combine your picks in the same lineup. All on Prize Picks, now available in all 50 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Download the app today, guys. Take advantage of this. This is what CLNS did for us along with Prize Picks. Just type in the code CLNS. You'll get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app Prize Picks. Use the code CLNS. You'll get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. All right, Jacob, is there anything else you're looking for in practice today as we get ready to reset here and they continue these joint practices with the Cardinal? What if I had to put you on the spot right now and said, hey, what's the number one thing, the number one question that you want answered today that you might be able to glean a little bit more knowledge from, I guess you could say? Maybe it's a position battle. Maybe it's a player. I want to see if he can really elevate his game in these joint practices. What comes to mind? What's the correct answer is always the first thing that pops in your mind. Most people try to talk themselves out of it. What's the first thing that pops in your mind when I ask you that question?
It'd be tight end 3 and offensive line 6, 7, 8. Trying to figure out just how that dominoes kind of fall into place there. I'm honestly not that worried about the defense, which is crazy because coming into the season, the off season, I should say, I was worried about the CB room, was kind of worried about the linebacker depth, was kind of worried about the D tackle depth. All of those kind of those worries have kind of been dissuaded by the fact that I just feel like that we have absolutely put in a lot of veterans, a lot of young players, a lot of guys that are absolutely kind of making me feel a lot more confident about those. Right now, I think it's O-line is the number one that's glaring to me, and then it'd be tight end /2 or 3, just because, as much as I love Tuck and you guys know, like I would literally, I'd take a bullet for Tuck right now and just as long as he keeps giving us, whatever, that'd be my last dying words. Just come on, man, get us a bowl. It feels like that we have maybe a little bit of a question mark still at tight end, even maybe 2. Like I like Wiley. I know that you personally like Wiley. I think that he's a really good contingency plan for if we don't have Musgrave coming back. Even if we have Musgrave coming back, I still kind of worry about that situational. If we want to go 12 personnel, a lot of people are going 13 personnel nowadays. Yeah, it seems to be that kind of weird trend in the NFL. I don't know if we have the guys on the team. We've talked about either it's going to be Dabney or Swenson. I would like for one of them just to let us know, like, yeah, man, put some, fire under that spark, and let's absolutely figure out if we have that type of guy already in our locker room, or if the cuts come around in the next week or two and we have to decide whether or not we want to try to take somebody else from another squad, then that is what it is. But what about you? What would you think would be kind of your most glaring need that you're seeing right now?
For me, it's funny you asked, because Will in the chat nailed it. CB1. I want to know, because I think it's going to be very telling as to who lines up as the starting corner opposite of Brandon Cisse. Because again, I feel like it's going to be Keyshawn Nixon, and I don't necessarily have a problem with that. What I would have had a problem with is if Brandon Cisse flashed in camp and they were refusing to give him an opportunity to start, and it was just going to be, all right, nope, we're going with Carrington Ballantyne, we're going to go with Keyshawn Nixon, and we'll see if these guys can work their way in. I would have hated that. So for me, it's CB1 hands down. But some of these responses in the chat, you guys are on fire here, man. Let's see here. Mike Z says K9 has a good day. Are we not mad at him anymore? Absolutely, we're not mad at him. Yeah,
Yep.
that's, we said it all along. Like, and that's the thing. If he played like Jair, we wouldn't be mad at him for what he said up to this point. But when you talk like Tarzan and play like Jane, that's a tough look. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, this fan base would forgive him so quick. There's no doubt about it. Jason in the chat says right guard. That's interesting, right? Jacob Monk. Some people aren't sold on Jacob Monk, and I completely understand it. Jagger Burton flashed at left guard while Aaron Banks was out, and it makes you wonder, would Jagger Burton be better at right guard than Jacob Monk? Maybe we'll see a little bit of that competition. It does feel like Jacob Monk is all but locked in that starting right guard spot, though. So
yeah, I would agree, man. I love it because, like I said, Jacob Monk, it wasn't necessarily one of my guys in the draft. It wasn't my guy, like, with the later round draft picks, which you guys know I love those bargain bin type people, but he has kind of grinded his way up to this type of position where I feel like that he, even though that Jagger Burton, in my opinion, has shown quite a bit, which is really cool for being a rookie, right? But a guy like Monk, man, he's kind of put his head down. He's plowed through the adversity. He's went through a lot of, even overperforming of a guy like Belton. It's a second round draft pick where we had a lot of stock in his future. It just feels like the team is finally, hopefully, looking at who's the best guy. I don't care about, like, again, where they were drafted, how much money we're paying them, all this kind of stuff. I love the fact that Monk seems like he is a dog. If you watch back at a few of his tape moments, he looks the part, man. He really does. He seems like he can sift. He can kind of delay or pass off blocks in context of certain schemes and TA stunts and those kind of things. Like, it's impressive to see what he's done right now. And he, I wasn't he a Duke guy, if I'm not mistaken? I always think either North Carolina or Duke.
Okay. He was I don't know if he played 5 years at Duke. It was either
he was a 4-year captain, right? Like,
right. It was either he either played 5 years and he was a 4-year captain, or he played 4 years and he was a 3-year captain. Regardless, both of those are really, really rare that someone is a captain that often. Yeah. So he's definitely what you're looking for, no doubt. The rest of the chat here says Spider Monkey says Walter Nolan versus Sean Ryan. That's going to be a good little test, I think, for both of them, right? Ooh. And let's see how Sean Ryan holds up. Walter Nolan, obviously a player we talked about throughout the draft process a lot. United Bank says, I think mine is the O-line. So it looks like offensive line is kind of dominating here. Mike Z agrees, offensive line for sure. So when you look at the O-line, again, we've got it penciled in. If we break camp like we did last year, we broke camp with 9. Let's assume we break camp with 9. I think it would be from left to right. Your starting offensive line is Jordan Morgan, Aaron Banks, Sean Ryan, Jacob Monk, Zach Bakobiwele. And then your backups, your 4 backups on the bench would be Jagger Burton, who would be your backup swing guard and backup center potentially. All right. Mm-hmm. Darian Kennard, which is kind of a backup right tackle, backup right guard type scenario. Anthony Belton, who is a backup, potentially a backup left tackle as well. He rotated in with the left tackle position group there last week in camp. But the last guy we got here rounding out the number 9 spot will be John Williams, who, if you guys remember, he was a 7th round pick last year. They really locked him coming out of the draft. He got hurt. It was essentially a red shirt year for him in the NFL, his first year, his rookie year in the NFL. And he has been basically your backup number 2 left tackle. So when you look at the 4 reserves there, Jagger Burton can play all 3 positions on the inside, including center. Darian Kennard, it's come from his mouth that he feels more comfortable on the right side so he can play right guard and right tackle. You got Anthony Belton, who was a college left tackle, but has played predominantly on the right side of the line at guard last year. And now they've given up on that and kind of moved him to tackle. He could potentially play backup left tackle, but John Williams is going to be your backup left tackle. If I were to adjust this depth chart and the position and where I think they see these guys, I would actually put John Williams ahead of Anthony Belton, meaning he would be your backup left tackle. And I think they see Anthony Belton as the backup right tackle. Me personally, I feel better about Darian Kennard playing backup right tackle. He's just one of those guys that's not going to crap the bed, you know? So with all that being said, your reserve pool here is Donovan Jennings, Dylan Wade, Travis Glover, Dalton Cooper, Brant Banks, Dylan Barrett, and Josh Geske. Josh Geske graded out really, really well in Denver, played really, really well according to PFF. Donovan Jennings gives you a little bit of versatility playing both tackle and guard. Travis Glover has played preseason predominantly at left guard. I kind of feel like Travis Glover would be the extra body there if they did decide to carry 10. So you guys are spot on, man. I think O-line is probably kind of the story of the day here. Scott in the chat said, is Matthew Golden legit? That's what he's going to be looking for. I think you're going to see Golden flash today. I really do. No pun intended there. Howard says O-line as well. All right. Ron Sample says Neiman. Neiman is on the top kickoff team among other special teams, making the 53 ? We broke camp with 4 last year, Ron. If we break camp with 4 this year, it's going to be Zaire Franklin, Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah McDuffie, Tyron Hopper, assuming everyone stays healthy. So you got Nick Neiman, Christian Welch, and TJ Quinn. I would have no problem with Neiman making the 53 as a 5th stackbacker. I just wonder, could you get him on the practice squad, one of those veteran spots, and call him up as needed? That's the only thing there, you know. And that's the problem here, because you're, like Goody said, it's not about putting together a 53-man roster, Jacob. You're putting together a 70-man roster, and how can you maximize getting as many of those players on that 70-man roster as opposed to just focusing on the 53?
Yeah, I agree. And you know what, Neiman, to his credit, I mean, he's played limited snaps in most of his career, but 2021 he came into the league at a 54.7, which, you know, whatever, kind of not terrible, not great. 2022 67, the next year a 71.6, the next year a 71.9. This last year obviously took a big dip down with a 47.8, but he seems like he's kind of just a special team specialist. Like, it's just maybe his niche on being that kind of linebacker 3, 4, 5 kind of thing. I don't think that he's a bad football player whatsoever. I just think that maybe this might be the year where he's solidified in that 53. I wouldn't push back too hard against it. I just think that we could maybe fill other spots before him, but he's definitely in the running.
Yeah. Soder with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, live Packer training camp content. Way to feed my degenerate need for Packer content. When will we really know about the running game? Figure end of week 2. I try not to make a true judgment on anything, Soder, until the first quarter of the season. You know, I kind of look at things in quarters and 4s. Now, I know there's 4 quarters to the season with an extra game now with the way the season's fallen, but I don't feel like you can have a true assessment of where a unit is until after 4 games, because that's how NFL coaches look at it. You know, when they're scouting for a team and even self-scouting, they do a 4-game saturation in the last 2 head-to-head, right? So 4 games give you a good rotation of mixing and matching what you want to do in your scheme and counteracting to what the other team's doing to attack you on offense and also defend you on defense. So for me, it's week 4, but if you think we'll have a good picture of it by week 2, I can understand that too. I think we'll have a good idea of who Marshawn Lloyd is by the end of week 2 to go, okay, this dude is going to be a dynamic player, or it's just going to be, he's just kind of another guy out there. You know, I hope he's dynamic. I really do. But time will tell. Appreciate the super chat, buddy. Mike Z with the super says, how much are we impressed with Morgan? I love what I am seeing and hearing. Go Pack Go. You know, everybody was kind of skeptical about it going in. We were very positive thinking about it going into this season because Jordan Morgan played left tackle in college. And people forget his first year in Green Bay, he was very vocal in every press. Anytime they talked to him in the locker room, he said, I've told the coaches I want to play left tackle. They just kept marching Rasheed out there, right? Rasheed Walker. And listen, that's not a LaFleur thing. That's not necessarily a Goody thing. That's a Packers thing. They've done that forever. That goes way back to Ted Thompson days, kind of. And I know that because I've heard 2 of the best offensive linemen to come through Green Bay in the Ted Thompson era, and Brian Bulaga and Mark Tauscher, they complained about it. Like, offensive linemen hate that cross-training at different positions, especially on the opposite side of the line and whatnot. So for me, Morgan, the fact that we don't hear his name is a great thing. I don't expect Morgan to go out there and be an all-pro his first year. What I'm kind of expecting, and I don't think it's unreasonable, I think you're going to see somebody who is in the 70s according to PFF. I think you're going to see a guy who has minimal penalties compared to Rasheed Walker. I think he's going to be a step up from Rasheed Walker, and that's all you can ask for a guy who's making $4 million this year, I believe. So I think it's money well spent on arguably the second most expensive position on offense when you get into kind of the tier 1 positions of importance and whatnot. So thank you for the super chat, Mike. We got updates rolling in now, Jacob. Alex says Sky Moore with quite a return on kickoff return. I'm excited for the juice he brings back there on special teams. Guys, he was a top 10 returner last year, both kick and punt. I think people are sleeping on his value for this team. And then Andy Herman fired a tweet out, says Sky Moore gets a shot at kick return and gets a pretty explosive return. Top kickoff unit was Cisse, Neiman, Melton, Brooks, Hopper, McDuffie, Sorrell, X, and Evan Williams. This is the part that bothers me, okay? Xavier McKinney.
Why is X?
No. Xavier McKinney, I don't have a problem with him playing special teams. Xavier McKinney's playing special teams. But Keyshawn is too good to return kicks. Get the hell away. Miss me with that. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep going back to it, but that just shows you the difference between Xavier McKinney. Mark Chamora said it the other day on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. He said, why doesn't Xavier McKinney pull him to the side and go, dude, they don't see you as a long-term future here, but just go out there and play. You other teams are watching. You're going to make money if you go out and have a good year. Why are you kind of, just accept it's what your role is. I just love Xavier McKinney being out there. I think he's setting the tone. And Brandon Cisse too, man. Like nobody can say they're not trying on special teams for sure. So
what do you think about your mama's comment?
Why is there CB1 in kick return? Is he talking about on kickoff team or return team? Yeah. I'll tell you why. How many fans wanted Bisaccia's ass gone last year? How many fans have complained about special teams over the last 3 to 5 years? It's the reason we lost when Aaron was here against San Francisco. Remember we had the punt blocked? Because we can't afford to put our star. This isn't a shot at you, Joe Mama. I'm just talking. This is me as a fan. This is my personal opinion. We can't complain about losing games because of special teams and then say these players are too valuable to put on special teams. Like we cannot afford to be an arrogant football team. We just can't. I don't think anybody can in the league, personally. I think the good teams don't look at it that way. The good teams, their best players on the sideline going, put me out there. I'll go make a play. Put me out there.
Clay, what was your was it Bill Walsh? Sorry.
If he gets hurt, that's football, baby. It's football. But I would rather us be trying everything in every phase of the game, offense, special teams, and defense, than to just be kind of half in, half out, worried about getting hurt, and then them get hurt halfway through the season, and you're like, okay, we were playing not to get hurt. That's why we got hurt. Go ahead, Jacob. Sorry.
No, I was just going to ask. I can't remember. You've talked about this a few different times over the last couple of years. Was it Bill Walsh's strategy or something like that about if you don't draft for special teams, like, and you just kind of set aside the back end of your roster? Like,
no, I've drawn a comparison or a commonality between teams that are bad at special teams. It's typically a West Coast offense field. So, like, let me give you an example.
Okay, yeah.
Bill Walsh's rosters weren't known for their special teams. They were known for their explosive offense, right? The bottom half of their roster were some teams like the Parcells tree. They would use the bottom third of their roster to just beef up their special teams. Bill Walsh would go, give me that extra weapon I can use on offense. Now, you got to have an explosive offense to maximize that. And it doesn't mean that Coach Walsh was wrong, but that's just something that I studying how teams were built. And I went back to the 80s, 90s, early 2000s and like, all right, what made these teams really good at special teams? One of the common threads, the common themes were West Coast build rosters, West Coast offense built rosters didn't put as much focus into special teams. And you could see the Packers have changed that, and they're trying to right that ship for sure. Kevin Robinson out here says Josh Jacobs finds his way through multiple defenders in 11-on-11 to find an open lane down the field. Jacobs is looking good. So Josh Jacobs looks like he's finally healthy from that groin injury. Caden Sanilla on Twitter said the Packers offense and defense are firing on all cylinders at the start of this joint practice against the Cardinals. You can see everybody kind of gathered up. This was Wes Hodkowitz's tweet. He said, returning to practice, Benjamin St. Juste and Aaron Mosby, who was sick. And then it says, not practicing. Defensive lineman Warren Brinson's got a calf. Wide receiver Savion Williams with the ankle. Edge defender Colin Oliver with the calf. The calf is still a problem for Oliver, man. That sucks.
Yeah.
Tight end Thomas Yasmin with the knee, safety Javon Bullard with the foot. It says not practicing, but we know Javon Bullard probably not in 11 on 11, but he's out there with rehab and doing one-on-one or doing individual drills, I would imagine. The reserve list still remains edge defender Micah Parsons, tight end Luke Musgrave, long snapper Matt Orzik, and defensive tackle Jordan Riley. We got a lot to get caught up here, Jacob. I'm going to talk for a second, man, because there's a lot of updates coming in. Marcus Eversole says, highlights in team, joint practice versus the Cardinals. Love complete to Watson over the middle for a first down. Josh Jacobs with a good chunk on a cutback, big hole. That's what we were just talking about. Swing pass left, incomplete to Jacobs with room to run. So they just missed an explosive there. Jacobs up the middle for a good gain. So far, more running room today than we've seen maybe all summer. Watson open on a deep crosser, perfect strike from Love, gain of 20, layered over the linebacker. Great throw. That's what you want to hear, Jacob. That's what you want to hear. Rob Domofsky says Packers O-line to start. We talked about it. Morgan, Banks, Ryan, Monk, and Baco Biwele. Kevin Robinson says Jordan Love picks apart the Arizona secondary and drops the ball between 3 defenders right into the hands of Christian Watson. So that sounds like a very layered throw there. Then Ryan Wood comes back 7 minutes ago. Packers defense playing downhill versus the Cardinals offense. Edgerrin, Cooper, and Evan Williams have already crashed for run stuff. Keyshawn Nixon on a blitz for a potential sack by Jacoby Brissett. You love to see that. And then, of course, some other updates here from Alec. First play of team, Love finds Watson. A little bit of redundant here, but just want to make sure we're not missing. I think we're all caught up there. So it sounds like Love to Watson is kind of still on the show, and the defense is showing up pretty nice here early. Mike Spofford says, watching Green Bay's D, Cooper in the backfield for a run stop. 2 incomplete passes, 1 was dropped. Cooper closes fast on play action pass to the flat. St. Juice rotating in with the 1s, and a complete short to McBride Oladapo right there. So the defense sounded like they're looking pretty good. Here was a look at Brandon Cisse earlier. Sleeper Packers tweeted that out. He just looks so smooth, Jacob. This dude does not look like a rookie, does he?
No, not at all. And that's what's more. Ron says that we got a Cisse interception here, which would be great to see. Man, I'm telling you what, dude. I don't want to slot anybody in necessarily as a starter at this point in the season, but it just feels like that he's the guy, which is just so. It doesn't feel natural for me to say that we're going to just slot in a cornerback necessarily into the CB1, but it just feels like how else could you take this? Like, he is an unbelievable talent. It seems like the game is slowed down for him, like in a capacity which I don't usually see with rookies. It's an unbelievably cool thing to have, and what a great pick by Goot. Like, I would have not made that pick myself, and I'll be honest with that. I wouldn't have, but now that I'm so freaking happy that I'm not in charge of doing anything with the Packers, man.
So Rob Domofsky tweeted out number 2 offensive line. This is something else we wanted to see with the O-line, right? Left tackle, John Williams. So it sounds like he's the front runner there. Left guard, Donovan Jennings. We talked about his versatility at tackle and guard, right? Jagger Burton is your backup center. Travis Glover is your backup right guard.
Boy.
And Anthony Belton is your backup right tackle, as it sits. So no Darian Kennard. Maybe they're playing it safe, or maybe Belton has surpassed him. But regardless, 2 pieces of information there, guys. John Williams, probably going to be your backup left tackle. Jagger Burton is going to be the backup center. Love to see that. Some other updates here from Alec. Jacobs up the middle again. Watson deep crosser now. Love connects for big gain, 20 yards. I think we hit on that one. Let's see here. Jacob Westendorf said, different defense, but Love to Watson ripped the Cardinals apart at Lambeau 2 years ago. So he's just pointing out that that's a connection that beat them some time ago. Here we go. Here we're getting to the Cisse interception. Mike Spofford, Cisse with an interception when Brissett throws hot versus the blitz pressure. Green Bay sideline erupts. They love that. Hearing Micah Parsons this morning raving about Brandon Cisse was absolutely awesome, too. You can tell he's already earned some of his respect early on. Wes Hykowitz, Matthew Golden is not human. Beautiful pass from Love to Golden, who beats 2 Cardinal defenders for a 45-yard touchdown. Matthew Golden, so I put him on a thumbnail. I thought he'd have a big day today. Mike Spofford said Brissett responds, hitting McBride on a cross for potentially a big gain. Jacoby Brissett's receiver slips. Brandon Cisse doesn't, and he has an easy pick on the left sideline. Might have had a long return on that one, too, the rookie bringing it early. Kevin Robinson. Matthew Golden just catches a 60-yard pass from Jordan Love in the end zone while being double covered. And, of course, he's got the The old gladiator meme of "Are
Let's
you
go,
not interested?"
Russell. Let's
Love
go.
it, love it. Brandon Cisse with the interception. Everybody kind of confirming that. So you're hearing the receiver did fall down, but he was still jumping the route. It sounds like it probably would have still been a pick, but he did fall down. So, here's everybody reacting to Matthew Golden. Marcus Eversole, Matthew Golden is ridiculous. Love uncorks a bomb to Golden with Buda Baker.
Hey,
Buda Baker's a team captain, veteran safety, right? With Buda Baker and Denzel Burke in double coverage, Golden makes an amazing catch going to the ground. Dude's hands and concentration are elite. So everybody obviously responding to that. I love Jacob Morley just screenshotted his timeline here, showing Mike Spofford saying Cisse with an interception when Brissett throws hot versus the blitz, and then Sturdivant draws a PI. Good to see him back doing teams. So love to Golden, bomb, touchdown. What a throw and catch in all caps, said Andy Herman. Yeah, immediately after this Jordan Love hit Matthew Golden deep for a touchdown, and the crowd went wild again, talking about that was so that interception was immediately after that touchdown. I think is what it's saying.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, first play of the day, 45-yard deep ball touchdown between Buda Baker and Denzel Burke. Everybody confirming that. So Matthew Golden showing up, man. I'm telling you, if I had to pick one of these receivers, I know many people think that it's going to be Christian Watson that's leading the way receiving. I would not be surprised if Matthew Golden is the leading receiver for the Packers this year. And if you're asking why, it's not necessarily that Golden is that much better than Watson or that much better than Reed. I'm talking in terms of deployment. He's taken over as X, okay? So he's taken over for Romeo Doubs. And as we've seen in the past, especially in the RPO game, that X receiver kind of dominates. Now, when you're talking about the drop back passing game out of the gun, typically the F will maximize everything. That's why with Christian Watson, he was, I think, second or third in the league amongst all receivers in yards per reception, but he didn't have near as many targets, right? Because he's that deep ball guy. He's kind of that second and third read, or that first read. If you come out and you show a middle field close, single high look, hey, let's bomb it deep to 9. That's what you're going to see there. But I think the majority of the volume is going to go to Matthew Golden out of that X spot personally.
Can I
go ahead? You're good.
Yeah, real quick. Prize picks. I'm not telling you. Always, take this with a grain of salt. We're never telling you guys to do any sort of influence.
Do your own research, right, Jacob? That's it. Just
yeah. Do your own research. But Matthew Golden slated right now at 649.5 receiving yards on the season through Prize Picks, and I would argue that if it's me, I'm slamming that over. I'm slamming that more. Like it just feels. Yeah. It just feels as if that is a nice piece of steak sitting out there waiting for a group of lions to eat up. Because like that is just, to me, on a platter, man. It just feels like that he is going to absolutely cook this year. He seems like he is. A lot of people again go back to last year and they're like, well, they didn't give him the opportunities. I believe he had over like 700 snaps. Like he got himself. It just wasn't. It just didn't turn out the right way. Certain years you have certain things and there's positive regression, negative regression, this kind of thing. I would argue that Matthew Golden is absolutely on par. I wouldn't be surprised if he has 1,000-yard season, Clay. I don't know about you, but
the volume is going to be there, and he's going to be able to take the top off from time to time. That's something Romeo couldn't do. Now, Romeo could beat a press long enough and use late hands to make a good catch, and you get a 35 or a 40-yard gain on a tightrope catch on the sideline. Golden's going to be able to take it the distance, so that's why I feel I'm right on par with you there, Jacob. One other thing, look up Reed real quick for me on Prize Picks, because Alex says Love now hits Reed for a huge game. This offense is on fire starting out today. The defense seems to be making a lot of big plays on their own, with Coop and Cisse doing a lot of work so far. And of course, Andy Herman had tweeted it out. I love Jacob Morley's Josh Sweat. He says Josh Sweat right now, switching sides like a pro. So love to Reed for a big game. The offense is absolutely scorching the Cards defense at the moment. If you guys would do me a big favor, we got a bunch of people in here watching. We cracked 1,000 live streaming or live watching right now. Only 243 likes on YouTube. Please do us a big favor. Just hit that like button. It helps the channel more than you know. What do you got on Prize Picks for Jaden Reed on the year, Jake?
So Jaden Reed, they only have him slated at 675.5. which
I actually like. I think I like that more than the golden, to be honest with you, because the offense it runs through the F if you're trailing, and I hope the Packers aren't trailing. But I feel a little bit better about the Jaden Reed when I was expecting Jaden Reed to be like 750 or something like that. So that's really interesting. That's very interesting. Both of them were like pretty good plays.
Yeah, just real quick, Christian Watson 774.5. I mean, it feels like they're kind of. I think a lot of that has to do with Tuck too, because Tuck's up there as well. Like they got him right in the 700s as well. So
yeah, that's the big wild card there. Watch none of these guys sniff 700 and Tuck go off for 1200. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, and I could see that, dude. I really honestly could.
And
they got Tuck at 699.5.
Yeah, that's why you got to tip your cap to Goody. Like he's put this offense together. It's like, yeah. I mean, there are weapons everywhere. Ryan Wood says another Cardinals receiver slips over the middle, and Katan Oladapo picks Gardner Minshew, Oladapo's third pick of what's been a solid camp. So you love to see that with Oladapo. I'd love to know if he was playing the slot or he was playing safety on that particular rep. I don't think we'll see anything there. Everybody's just talking about Jordan Love being dialed in to start joint practice. There's the Oladapo pick. Here we go. Andy Herman giving us some play-by-play. Says, love the Golden on a comeback for 13. Love the Watson on a skinny post. Love is just fire right now. Bubble outside to Moore, complete for a handful. Nair got a rep with the ones on a third down play. Love the Brooks on a check down. Maybe a bit hot, but Brooks should have caught it. It was a drop. So maybe came in a little hot there on Brooks on a swing pass.
Come on, Brooksy.
Everything is just, we're firing on all cylinders here. Everybody confirming everything Andy Herman just said. Here we go. Rob Demovsky, Jordan Love on fire early, completed 8 of 10 passes in the first team period. Only incompletions were a no call on what might have been a DPI and a drop by Brooks. Hit Watson 3 times, Golden twice, and a deep crosser to Reed. He just dealing out there, baby. Just spreading the love around. Love to see it. See, efficient start here. Paul Brittle says efficient start for Love, who's looking to push the ball downfield. So obviously they are attacking downfield. So here's just some quick updates.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, compiling this together. Alex says on offense, Love goes 8 of 10. We talked about that. Watson 3 catches. Golden 2 catches, including a big touchdown. Reed with a big play. Run games look good. On defense, Cisse gets an interception of Brissett. Oladapo picks off Minshew. Coop with multiple run stuffs. Feeling good. Feeling really good. Cooper's the big one for me, Jacob, because it's been kind of a quiet camp for him. I needed this. And no way, shape, or form was I worried that Cooper was going to forget how to play football. It's just like we're usually hearing about him by now. He's ramping up as camp is starting to come to a close. You love to see it, man.
No, I agree, man. And you know what? I don't want to necessarily equate the two together, but the fact that Zaire Franklin is in there, it just feels like that maybe there's not as many pop plays as we usually see from a guy like Coop. Like it feels like that he's been, I don't want to say relegated, because that feels like that he's lost a step or like been down promoted or whatever the case is. I'm so excited to have a guy like Za in the middle of that defense, doing the green dot, doing everything again, freeing up a guy like Coop to absolutely just feast on these defenses. I think that when we come into the actual regular season, we're going to see that they work in a tandem so much better than, like that Quay did. And I don't want to, again, throw shade on anybody. If you're a Packer, you're a great Packer. I'll never necessarily hate on you. But I really do feel like that it's going to be a better duo in that linebacker field by far than what it would have been with Quay and with Coop. I think that they just are going to absolutely feed off each other way more intensively, and to the point where like they're both going to have a resurgence of their quote unquote down years. So
yeah, for sure. Looks like Caden here on X says got a close up view of the Packers offensive line and drills, and I'll tell you they look very promising and really good.
Let's go. Very
hopeful. It's what we're looking for, man. And listen, maybe Aaron Banks goes out there and balls out this year, man. Maybe he stays healthy and we go, oh, okay, that's why Goody doubled down on that contract, because that was the big thing last year was folks were talking about, hey, he was never really healthy all year. He never got healthy in camp. That's what was so frustrating coming into camp, and he was banged up again. It's like, man, I thought we were over this, thought we had it behind us, but nonetheless, sounds like the offensive line's starting off strong. Now, listen, can I be negative for a second? It's okay, right?
Oh boy.
this is the point. Like when we talk about this stuff, we're a glass half full top podcast. You guys know us, right? I'm going to focus on the positive way more than the negative. I just don't live life that way. I'm sorry, I don't. But this is the Cardinals, right? This isn't, we're not going up against the Patriots, who are the AFC champions, right?
Wolfpack says.
There you go. Well, get out of my head, Wolfpack. That's I'm spot on, dude. Like we got to put things into perspective, but at the same time, this is what you want to see against a lesser opponent. You know what I mean? There's that aspect as well. So yeah. Anything else in the chat you want to hit on, Jacob? Anything at all in there? We're still waiting on some updates to come in. Looks like we got all caught up. So
yeah, I mean, like Cannonball John was talking about how we really should feel, I guess, blessed the fact that we have basically no injuries. Obviously, we know the major ones with Micah and that kind of stuff. But up until this point, I don't know about you, Clay, but I feel pretty blessed that we're sitting here talking about how a lot of these guys that are even maybe not practicing today, they're actually, in line to probably play week 1. You know what I mean? So like, it's not necessarily that type of situation where you feel like, I mean, we're not the 49ers, you know what I mean? Where it's like almost all of your skill players are on verge of IR and all this kind of stuff. It's pretty impressive, I think, because obviously what's the two biggest things for a really dialed in Packer fan that we've had gripes with for the last few years? It'd be the special teams play and the fact that we have so many injuries. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't that make a little bit of sense? Like, and all of a sudden it seems like Cam Acord has completely overhauled that group. And it feels like whatever we're doing in the offseason, getting Marshawn Lloyd healthy, making sure that Watson's back, making sure that Tuck's coming back, making sure that Micah's on his trajectory to come back to being a starter here, just like you show right there. It just feels as if that we've addressed these situations a lot better than we have in the past. And I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, right as you said that, I scroll through and I see Sleeper Packers said Packers defensive end Micah Parsons making an making an appearance at Packers Cardinals joint practice today. Love the shoes, by the way, man. Those are sweet.
Yeah, those are pretty cool.
I don't know if I could pull those off with my redneck ass, but they look sweet on Micah, no doubt about it. Mike Z with the super chat, appreciate you, buddy. Says I truly feel like there's a sense of cohesion at Backer this year, like in the past. No missed assignments, more quote air coverage, and sure tackling in the run and pass game. Go Pack, go. Again, the frustrating thing about Quay Walker, I'm not going to be surprised if he blows up with the Raiders. I'm not, because he's got all the tools. It was just he was slow to shoot his shot. We talk about the start, stop, shoot. With Edgerrin Cooper, you see start, stop, shoot. When I talk about that, guys, when the ball snapped, you start in the direction that your pre-snap read tells you. Get in position, set. I read it right. Shoot your shot. Right. Start, stop, shoot. Quay would start, stop, hesitate, then shoot, and he's out of the play already. And that's why he got a lot of tackles. He'd be making a tackle 6-7 yards down the field, right? Now, what Quay does better than Zaire is he could flip his hips and cover the seam. He had the athletic ability, he had the range, he had the reach, all the tools that you're looking for. What was he, like 6'4", I think. With Zaire Franklin, that's not a superpower of his, but he is a downhill gap-destroying run defender. That's what he does. He is going to shoot that shot, and he's got the awareness, he's got the experience in the league. He's going to play a half a second or a half a step ahead using his mind, and he is going to smack people in the mouth. You've seen it in Pittsburgh in preseason, where he just literally took the running back who was in pass pro and drove him into the quarterback. LVN, I think, got credited for the sack. Maybe he didn't. Regardless, that's who Zaire is. So if you can cover on the backside and you feel good about McKinney and Williams, which I think we would all agree is a strength of this defense, and you allow Franklin to play extra aggressive underneath, that's an element we haven't had in this defense in the last couple of years, because Quay is just kind of hesitant. As Mike Z says here, man, the cohesion of the backers this year, I think you're spot on, Mike. I think it's, now we got to take into consideration too that Zaire's getting a little bit older, right? And he's not going to be able to play like he's 23 or 24, and maybe you have to limit the reps coming down the stretch here. But in terms of what he does well, I think it gels a lot better than what Quay did well with what we want to do on defense. And it's awesome too, because with Zaire, you don't think of an athletic freak, especially this long in his career. But next to him is Edgerrin Cooper. You're not going to find a bigger athletic freak. So they really
perfect. Yeah, perfect segue to what Mike Z went up to fall on, because more and more trust in the guy next to you to do the job. Like, that's exactly it. Everybody is literally like feeding off each other to the point where they understand that this guy's going to do his assignment. This guy's going to make his assignment. That means that all I have to do is worry about my assignment. And that way, that means that we're going to plug some holes. Like, it's going to be a fun season to watch. I really do believe that this Green Bay Packers defense will be one that we have not seen in quite a long time. I think Jonathan Gannon is going to get these guys absolutely dialed and ready. The piss is going to be hot. I'll just say that.
It's going to be very hot. Very hot. So appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We got 500 watching on YouTube. Do me a big favor, hit that like button. Only 274 likes. Let's see if we can get that up over the 400 mark. We would greatly appreciate everybody doing that for us. Thank y'all for making us a part of your festivities today. Alec on Twitter said, it's great to see Damani Jackson working out as a jammer during punt return. So Damani Jackson getting some live reps. You love to see that. Caden mentioned that Micah Parsons just walked down the sideline closest to the fans here at practice and got a ton of cheers and claps from the Packer fans. I still can't believe we got Micah Parsons on this roster. It's just wild to think about, man. It just never happens in Green Bay that you go out and trade for a big-name player like that since Reggie, I think is the most recent one at that
Maybe
level.
Charles.
Yeah, well, Charles was a free agent signing, so it's a little bit different.
Right,
but
yeah.
Going out and just saying, F them picks, give me that superstar. I mean, been the first one that I can think of since Reggie. Let's see. Ryan Wood says next team period opens after special teams. Carl Brooks with a sack on the first rep. Let's go, Carl. Keyshawn Nixon unblocked on a run stuff. Next rep. Keyshawn out here stuffing the run. Let's go, Key. Still playing downhill. And then looks like it got confirmed there from Alec as well. Mike Spofford had a tweet. I think we just lost it. Here we go. Brooks with another pressure / sack on Brissett. He's having his way with right guard Nixon. With the right guard. Nixon came unblocked on the run stop. LVN and Sorrell both jump off sides. Me no likey that, Jan. Defense jumps again. Free play Brissett. Takes a deep shot for Wilson. Nixon is grabbing his shoulder pad as McKinney swoops over, but collision prevents the interception. Both defenders slow to get up, but they're okay. You like that dramatic pause there, Jacob? They're okay.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So gotta be careful out there, guys. Now the offensive side, Love to Kraft, who was left wide open. So obviously LaFleur scheming Tucker Kraft wide open. Love steps up in the pocket, then runs for a first down after some nice footwork. Love with the check down to Lloyd that goes for about 10 yards. Sounds like Marshawn Lloyd going to be catching the ball out the backfield. Do you have a prize picks? Do they have any kind of catch predictions, receiving yards predictions for Marshawn Lloyd, or is it just rushing yards as we sit here on August the 26th, Jake? Give me a check on that. I'll continue to read these updates while you look that up. Marshawn Lloyd in the passing game is what I'm interested in. The first Jordan Love interception has happened on a route that Drake Dabney flattened out too much. It seemed Jordan Love threw an interception, bench his ass. Get him off the field right now. I've seen enough. We're going with McCord the rest of the year. Joking, guys. Please don't leave the stream, okay? Everything's going to be okay. This is the time to test things, but it sounds like Dabney probably flattened that out a little too much there. Second period of team, says Marcus Eversole. Love complete the Kraft wide open in the flat. We talked about that. A lot of room for Yak, and he usually gets more. Big collision between Zach Tom and Mac Wilson Sr. in the hole, and put a explosion emoji. Swing pass to Lloyd will set up with a blocker in front. That's that T-lead swing we talk about on Chalk Talk all the time. Well, they'll have a blocker out front. Jordan will work one side of the formation, one side of the play, and if he doesn't like what he's got a T-lead swing on the opposite. In the past, Jordan was too late to get to the lead swing, and it sounds like, I know last year by the end of the year he was getting to that T-lead swing a lot quicker, so that's good news. Do you got that number there, Jacob? You got anything on him or not?
Yeah, Prize Picks isn't. They're not touching that yet.
Okay,
he's got no receptions, no rush yards, no nothing. So they're going to wait and see for sure.
That's one to keep an eye on, because I think they're going to use him in the passing game this year. I really do, man.
If you go back to his USC tape, dude, he catches that ball real fluently. Like you could see that in the little, what would you call that, Clay? Like not necessarily a Texas route, right? What would you call it? Just, like an angle route from
it's
the running back.
Let me clear that up real quick. Emilio calls it a Texas route, and he's not wrong. Okay,
he is wrong.
I was always taught, and again, this is way back in the 90s West Coast. The reason Emilio don't know about the 90s West Coast is because he wasn't
born yet.
Right? So, but the Texas was a concept in in Mike Holmgren's offense. Remember we ran the split backfield sets? You would go split back, like the pro set, under center. Favre would be under center. You'd have a split back set. You'd have Edgar Bennett and Dorsey Levens back there. You'd have Mark Chimura or Keith Jackson. Right?
Keith Jackson.
Just the other morning, I had breakfast at Tracy Rucker's house. His mama brought out 15 flapjacks. He said, "Mama, take back 5 of them flapjacks. I got to stay hungry for the Crimson Tide." My voice is not deep enough to do it like Favre. But what they would do on a Texas concept is they would run the tight end down the seam, and then they would bring the back on a follow route underneath on an angle. Okay, so when we say follow, they're just following another route out, right? So you would have the Y running a skinny, and then you'd have the back come out, and it looks like he's going to run a shoot route, and then he angles across the middle. We've always called that an angle route. So the Y go with the T angle, or it can be a H angle, whichever back's running it. That was called Texas, the concept was, okay? Or lasso for Texas. Now, some people call the angle route a Texas route because most of the time the ball went to the back because you would walk the defender out with the Y going skinny. That makes sense. So what did he just say? Emilio's taking strays right now? No, Emilio ain't taking strays right now. Emilio,
yes, he is.
You should see
and he's bad at Madden. How about that?
You should see how he talks to me in our group chat. It's so disrespectful, ain't it, Jacob?
He's a disgruntled young gentleman, you know. I don't understand it, but he's really bad at Madden too. I mean, he never beats me, that's for sure. That's
all right. Back to the updates here. So Love throws a deep ball to Dabney down the right sideline, picked by Andrew Wingard. So that's how the interception happened there. Bo Melton catch from Love past the sticks on the right sideline. Oladapo knocks down Brissett, pass at the line. I thought it said knocks down Brissett. I was like, here comes the fight. But he knocked down the pass at the line. McClellan with pressure. Love to see it. Complete to McBride with Nixon closing fast. Valentine and Simpson rotate in for 1 reps at corner. So you're getting a little bit of Jalen Simpson in at corner. That's interesting. Love responds with a nice ball to Bo Melton for 15 yards. 2 nice snags by Bo Melton, both outs near the sideline. So Bo Melton's starting to turn it on a little bit. Love 4 for 5 the next time through, but picked off by Andrew Wingard on a pass from Drake Dabney. Appeared Dabney and Love weren't on the same page, so it was more of a miscommunication than it was a bad technique or a bad throw inaccuracy or what have you. Jordan Love so far today, listen to this number, Jacob. 12 of 15 with multiple big throws, including a highlight big touchdown to Golden. Only misses include a PI as well as the interception with him and Dabney not on the same page. So Jordan Love damn near perfect, man. The accuracy, I remember when Jay Love took over and we said if he can fix the accuracy, he's got the arm talent, right? He's got the arm talent. Can he fix the accuracy? He has fixed the accuracy, Jake. No doubt about it.
And it's just what's weird is that if you're a casual NFL fan, you just don't believe that Jordan Love is a top 5 quarterback. And I've been seeing more and more of, quote, the talking heads on certain networks and all that kind of stuff, absolutely all of a sudden realizing like, oh, when we dive into the metrics, yeah, he is. And like, just, I really do believe that kind of the consolidation of the weapons now, where we don't have so many that we have to try to spread across, and the fact that that offensive line takes even just a slight monicum of a step up and they can give Jordan another half a second. And I literally mean a half a second. Like, I'm not exaggerating. He was pretty freaking unbelievable with the time that he had last year. If you give him another second or two to pet that ball, the guy, I mean, he's Johnny on the spot. He can sling that tater like nobody else. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no doubt. And then Steph in the chat, did McClellan get a helmet that fits yet? Not yet, I don't think. Not yet. Bates did confirm, Jacob. Not by you, Clay, just in the chat, jokingly, of course. But Emilio, man, that's why you need to be on the live stream, dude. I know you're out there pretending like you're working a job right now, but you need to be like me and Jacob.
2-hour lunches, dude.
Yeah, just quit your job and be unemployed like me and Jacob, all right? And you can live the dream here. Somewhere Emilio's wife is going, no. Somewhere Mandy is spending my money right now going, no, you need to get your book back. Appreciate the update there, Bates. So evidently it wasn't me that was throwing the strays. I like somebody in the chat too said they're not strays, we're aiming. So love to see that. Let's see what else we got in here. In the chat, or I'm sorry, in the updates. Looks like Rob Domofsky fired a couple tweets off. I just want to make sure I'm not reading the same thing multiple times. You guys would do me a big favor, hit that like button. We're almost to 300 likes. We got over 500 watching. We're at 296. Push us over 300 likes. We greatly appreciate it.
We have over almost 1,100 watching live on all platforms. Just we always highlight YouTube because YouTube's.
There's nothing better than Packer fans, man. Like it's just like people. It was so cool seeing Pat McAfee react to the family night scrimmage and how packed Lambeau was. Like, what in the heck? This is a practice, right? And the fact that we got, like you said, almost 1,100 people watching, just kind of tagging along and having fun, getting practice updates. Man, there's nothing like Green Bay Packer fans. It's the reason I'm a Packer fan.
When you watch the Denver game, the announcers, who were obviously homers, that's how they're going to be, but they were like, man, can you believe that there's 64,000 people here for a preseason game? Where else does this happen in the league? And then like 30 seconds go by and he goes, maybe Green Bay. That's probably the only other one. And then they literally, as they're saying that, a lot of the Broncos fans filter out, and you can hear the "Go Pack Go" chants coming through, and they're like, "Oh, we get some "Go Pack Go" chants coming through here on the live broadcast," and it's like, "Yep, you just got schooled, buddy."
Hit that super chat for me. I'm trying to get this resynced over there.
Soder, who's also always too generous. I appreciate you, man. He said, I was told repeatedly CJ Stroud is better. I remember that as well. They were kind of on the same trajectory of where they came into the league and all that kind of stuff. Soder, that's a great comment because they consistently were comparing to him, comparing themselves together. And then all of a sudden, once he started falling off, they're like, oh, well, let's not talk about that anymore. I would argue that Jordan Love is strides above a guy like CJ Stroud. And that's not to say CJ Stroud is a bad player whatsoever. I'm just saying Jordan Love has absolutely surpassed him completely, in my opinion.
CJ Stroud was one of those guys, Jacob. He had a really good rookie year, and you're like, okay, this dude's probably going to be a great football player. And it just kind of fell off. And Jordan Love just got better every year.
Exactly.
Every year. And I think it's a testament to Matt LaFleur, too. Not to take anything away from Jordan. Obviously, he's the one making the plays. But I just love what we got in Green Bay in terms of that cohesion. So here we go, man. Jumping back in. So Mike Spofford said reserve D jumped offsides twice. That's 4 offside flags total this period. So we got to get that cleaned up on defense, obviously. Matt Schneib and Packers defense jumped offsides 4 times. Same thing. Kelly and McClellan, too. So Nigel Kelly and Chris McClellan. A couple young guys, right? Rookies, obviously.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen. That's the problem with rookie players. Packers defense jumped off, so everybody's reporting that. That seems to be the story of the day here. Here we go. Looks like maybe a low throw from Love there, but the ball falls incomplete. Kraft almost had a touchdown there, said Alec over on X. And then we get we had it. Got us a shot here for Sleeper Packers. Packers have such a good interior linebacker duo in Franklin and Edgerrin Cooper. This was some of the drills earlier. Here's a good shot at Franklin. Let's watch him here. So look at them mirror together. That's gonna be absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to see them.
Dude, Coop looks way bigger than Za. You know what I mean?
He is, man. I'm telling you, Cooper is a monster, dude. Yeah, he's got the length too that, like, Gannon putting him in on the edge and some of these 5-man rush, 5-man looks. He's got the ability to do that with that reach. All right, so this is somebody who covers the Cardinals. I would say so. 138,000 followers is Darren Urban. He said Arizona Cardinals' first unit offense has struggled versus the Packers here, but Brissett just had 2 nice McBride red zone completions, the second for a touchdown. So obviously acknowledging that the Packers defense seems to have had the Cardinals number early, but they are starting to ramp up some plays. Ryan Wood said in red zone drills, Packers give up the touchdown. There's a one to Trey McBride. Then Marvin Harrison Jr. beats Keyshawn Nixon on a fade for a touchdown. Looks like Nixon expected safety help that never came, and Harrison was wide open. So more of a busted coverage than getting beat one-on-one there for Key. I want to tell the story accurately there for sure. So that's what I love about Ryan Wood's tweets, man. There's so much detail. The Packers' run game looks about as open as I've seen it throughout this preseason today. Offensive line is doing a great job opening holes for Jacobs today, said Alec _332 on X. So the running game, boy, would that be a great, great, pleasant surprise if we go out there week 1 against Minnesota and all of a sudden we got a running game again. That would be absolutely awesome if the offensive line goes out blocking. Marcus Eversole says, looks like a lot of this is redundant from what we just read. Love complete to Kraft underneath. Wingard hits him, but lets up. Kraft scored. Wingard yelled something at him, but I think we know how that collision ends with the smirk there. I'd love to see it. So don't be pissing off Tucker Kraft. I promise you that. That dude, ask Brian Branch how that played out. What you gonna do, blank? Oh
no.
So we got now. Listen, this is the NFL Rumors account. Some people don't like it. Okay. However, NFL Rumors has got 409,000 followers. They tweeted out 1 hour ago. Packers Josh Jacobs is expected to receive suspension soon. Now, listen, that could have been NFL Rumors responding to a bunch of tweets, responding to Goody going, we're prepared for a suspension, right? So there's nothing there that says sources say, but they are reporting he is expected to receive a suspension soon. So we'll see if that actually comes to fruition. Again, it's not breaking news or anything, but that's what that NFL Rumors account. I've seen some people, they hate that account. I get it. When you got that many followers, it's like, okay, I haven't followed them close enough. I assume they're just responding to other people. Hopefully that's not the case, but if it is, bring it on, man. Whatever we got to face this year, I think these Packers can handle it, man. I really do. So Luke Hunt in the chat says, free my boy. All right, let's see here. What is this? Bates says, Eli Berkovitz posted the eyes emoji and Easton replied, DMs, what do you know, Easton? Uh-oh. I'm going to drop that down and go look at Easton Butler's page, see if we can decipher this. Again, we've talked about this. The first thing that comes to mind for me, Jacob, is Josh Sweat.
Yeah.
And we talked about when everything fizzled out and basically the Cardinals wanted a second-round pick. Nobody was willing to give a second-round pick. They said, we're not taking anything less than a second-round pick. All right. That will not change until training camp. Now we're at training camp, right? So, and I haven't seen Josh Sweat's name mentioned once today, so he must be working out on the sideline, I would imagine. So thank you for that update there, Bates. I'm going to go comb through and look real quick. Read this super chat for me, Jacob, as I try to get that pulled up, if you don't mind, man.
Yeah, gotcha. Wild card for life 746 says Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the NFC North and the third best in the NFC overall, behind only Stafford and Prescott. Prove me wrong. Hashtag. The only way that I would push back on that a little bit is that I don't feel like Dak Prescott is. Well, you know what? That's Dak Prescott is a really, really good quarterback that I think is a little bit underrated. I would agree with you. I think Stafford is still just a beast thrown there. I appreciate that comment because I do feel like that he is up there in the upper echelon. Here's a hot take. He's better than Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes has been on a downslide for the last 2 years, and people just don't acknowledge it because all Chris Collinsworth can do is just say, here's a guy, and that's just basically all he does over and over and over. I would agree with that. I think that it's you go Josh Allen. Honestly, Drake May nowadays is up there as well. Matthew Stafford. I think Jordan Love is right there. Like, he's right there in that conversation of guys that are absolute dogs. I think that Prescott is definitely a top 5 for sure, but I wouldn't call him a top 2. Like, it is an interesting dynamic because there's a lot of give and take that you go with quarterbacks and what they have in front of them and what their offensive scheme is and what their weapons are and all that kind of stuff. But I really do believe that Jordan Love has made the most out of what opportunities and the staff that he's had as far as the wide receiver crew. Like, it to me is just, it's easy to see, but again, I'm a homer, so who knows?
Yeah, so as I responded, I'm going to read it again. Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the NFC North and third best in the NFC overall, behind only Stafford and Prescott. I seem to be in a minority, and I think me and Jacob disagree on this. I think Prescott is a great quarterback. In the past, I have ranked him way higher than most Packer fans do, so I think I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm probably wrong, seeing that the large majority think Prescott isn't as good as I think he is. But with that being said, we ranked them in the offseason, and it doesn't mean that's going to be how it plays out this year. We went through and ranked the NFC North quarterbacks, and I could probably pull up the Patreon link right now and show you how we ranked them. I put what I think are the most important metrics, the most important statistics, and said, okay, overall, here's how we rank them. It was Jared Goff, Jordan Love 2, but it was close. I mean, really close. And then 3 was actually Kyler Murray, 4 was Caleb Williams, and 5 was J.J. McCarthy. And people seeing the Caleb Williams like, how can you say that? I showed the recipe. It's all the important statistics, all the important metrics. And again, it's why the Bears are picked to be the top regressing team this year, because they had an easy schedule and everything just fell their way last year.
Turnovers.
Caleb Williams, I think he led the league in turnover-worthy plays that didn't turn into a turnover. I think he had 10 turnover-worthy throws that should have been picks that weren't picks. That's not going to happen every year. The accuracy, he played the other night, he was 2 of 5 and missed Colston Loveland on a throw. Guys, he finished 41st in adjusted completion percentage last year. It doesn't mean he can't be a great football player, but this idea that he is just the elite is hilarious to me. So that being said, I would say I have no problem with what you're saying here, Wildcard. And with Stafford and Prescott, I personally believe Stafford and Prescott are both better than Jordan Love right now, but Love could surpass them this year. So I agree with almost everything you said there, other than I think Jared Goff needs to be slightly ahead of Jordan Love. I think that changes this year, though. I think the top comes off of Jordan Love's game this year. I'm really excited about it. So appreciate the super chat, buddy. Hopefully that got you your money's worth there. So here's what Bates was talking about. Eli Berkovich tweeted out an hour ago. The final time Josh Sweat will ever wear a Cardinals jersey, many are saying, right? And then Easton Butler said, and Friday, but, right? Eli says, I emoji. And then Easton Butler says, DMs, smiling emoji. So like to know what those DMs are. I could probably DM Easton to see if I can get a hint, but again, I don't want to put him on the spot, and he'll say it when he needs to say it. So we'll continue to monitor that if anything does happen. I think it's very interesting, though, that he decided to practice today. It's almost like a dress rehearsal for the Packers if they're willing to give up something. So Easton Butler did tweet out an hour ago, hoping Sweat has a good practice and looks healthy. Kind of feels like that's what's hinging on this, you know? And again, he may play for the Cardinals. We don't know. This isn't a rumor. This is just we've been following this story the entire way. But yeah, with that being said, let's hop back over to the practice updates now, see what we missed. I'm glad we did bring that up and talk about it, though. I don't know why it keeps resetting like this. So anything else you want to hit, go ahead, Jacob. I got to get this back.
I was just going to ask you a question. Just if Sweat is actually posed to come to Green Bay and, you know, the dollars and cents make sense, and if all the fine red tape and all that kind of goes through, what if he's still maybe 2 weeks out because of this lingering knee issue? Is that still a guy that you want to put the eggs into that basket, if that makes sense? You know what I mean? Like, what if he still is dealing with – it's kind of the same thing with when they talk about, well, let's go sign Trey Benson. Well, Trey Benson has a lingering – it wasn't a meniscus or something sort of like that, patella, something like that. Would you still be willing to sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Trey Benson is nowhere near Josh Sweat's level of play. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Like, Josh Sweat is a game changer. He is. I mean, he had 12.5 sacks last year. You know, we look. He only played 3 more games than Micah, and he had a half a sack more than Micah, or maybe a half a sack less than Micah. And again, I'm not saying he's on Micah's level, but you put him opposite of Micah, and you throw in the mix Lukas Van Ness as well. We're talking about a 1-year rental. So the question becomes, is it worth trading, let's say, a third-round pick? Is it worth trading a third-round pick to have a 1-year rental that arguably gives you the best pass rush in the league? You know, it is that important. And for the people that think, well, no, it's not worth it, we're going to be stopping these young players. Okay, so if we're just going to fall back to, we got to get these young guys reps. We can't be disappointed when you get in the big games in the playoffs. And you can't get over the hump, you know. And again, it doesn't mean that DDS can't come out and go, holy cow, this dude's a superstar, and he's better than Josh Sweat. That's possible. It's just highly unlikely that a rookie comes out and has the kind of impact that Josh Sweat could. So, and again, I'm not saying I'm over the moon, go get Josh Sweat, hell or high water, we got to have him. I'm not saying that. I'm just kind of laying out the pros and cons of each side. But yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I didn't mean to cut you off, but for me, that's where I'm at on the Josh Sweat thing. I'm to the point that if they want a third-round pick, if it's a conditional, yes, meaning if he plays in 14 games, we'll give you a third-round pick. If he goes out there and he's only able to suit up 4 games, you get a 5th-round pick. I don't know if they'll go for that, but I would have the deal structured in that way if you did try to pull off pull off a trade like that.
No, I agree, man, and that's I love that conditional thing. It a lot of people in the chat seem like that they're on board with trying to give him a shot. The whole thing with me was, like I said, whether or not he's healthy, whether or not the contract makes sense. But everything that you've kind of laid out in the last few episodes here makes a lot of sense, and it is an interesting component. I mean, I feel like like we've talked about so many different times, that this is the window. The window is open right now. And what do you do when that window's open? Is you flood the gate, man. You absolutely do everything you can to make sure that we maximize. I mean, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be us in LA. I mean, you can't put Myles Garrett. If they get freaking Donald back, I mean, that's the epitome of flooding the gate. They just went all in. Like, they went all in.
And Jacob, the last time they did that, the last time they went all in, there were Packer fans. I was in Green Bay the week that we were supposed to trade for, or no, supposed to sign OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr.
That's right.
And I remember being at 1919 Kitchen and Tap with the most beautiful bowl of beer cheese soup in front of me with an ice cold brew cha-cha. And he was on NFL Network, and the rumor was Green Bay was interested in him. Goody was not willing to give him any amount of money, hardly at all. It was like a veteran minimum was always willing to offer. The Rams go and sign him, and he arguably could have been the Super Bowl MVP if he doesn't tear his ACL in the Super Bowl. But what people forget, last I heard, he led all receivers in receiving yards and catches in the playoffs the year that they won the Super Bowl. So he was enough to get them over the hump and win that Super Bowl. Now, people at the time, there were Packer fans, not all, probably a minimal amount, were like, that's stupid, they're going all in like that. F them picks and all that talk, right? It got them a ring, and then immediately the conversation shifted to, well, that's going to hurt them long term. Well, here we are a few years later, and they're right back there again.
They're right there.
Yeah. So, again, you use the draft picks to build the base of your roster when you're not truly competing. And when you get to the point where, okay, we're in the top 10, go all in. Do everything you can to make it happen. That's kind of as long as it's important positions. Like, I'm not saying go overpay for anything, right? So, let's see here. We got a super chat from Mike Z. I think I missed it. Maybe you got it, Jacob. If you did, I apologize. He said, Sweat is a name that makes a quarterback go quick. And he's a speed rusher, right? So, mixing and matching, moving. Imagine them moving Micah around a Joker one like we seen last year, Jacob, where he's blitzing the A gap and occupying a double team, and then having LVN on one end and having Josh Sweat on the other in a passing situation on a 3rd and 8 against a Matthew Stafford or somebody like that. That's how you compete against those teams.
Or even when Micah comes back and you can kick LVN inside on certain looks like that. People forget that he is that physical, that he can do that. And then you have maybe a Hargrave or a McClellan or a Wyatt in there. Like, we've got ourselves some chess pieces to play with here.
Yeah. All right. So here's it. Let's get to some updates real quick. If y'all would do me a big favor. And thank you, Mike Z, for the super chat. Hit that like button. We're at 329 likes. We got 570 watching on YouTube. Do us a favor, man. Just hit that like button if you jumped in here. Thank y'all for hanging out. Let's get y'all some updates of what's going on over there at Ray Nitschke Field. You're going to love this one, Jacob. Sturdivant with a touchdown catch and a backflip. So
come on.
Keep in mind, Marshawn Lloyd did the backflip, and Coach LaFleur went down and said, "Don't ever do it." It's just like we talked about on Major League, right? Nice catch, Hayes. Don't ever effing do it again. So Sturdivant with a nice play there. Everybody talking about team red zone ends with a back shoulder throw to the pylon of Sturdivant, who does a backflip. Everybody reporting the backflip, of course. Trey Dean tips a Gardner Minshew pass in the air on 3rd and goal, and Tyron Hopper comes down with an interception in the end zone. Jacob, all Tyron Hopper does is play good in the preseason. Every opportunity he gets, he plays good. Even in a regular season, he grades out good. He does his job. He picks off Caleb Williams in the playoff game, right? Yep. It was somehow, some way, he just never cracks the starting lineup. I don't understand it, man. Theo Mackey, whoever that is, I'm not sure what looks worse, the Cardinals' offensive line or their secondary. Every time I look over the Packers side of the field, Love is completing a big pass downfield. So I'm going to watch this. You're going to see this in real time. Let's give that a like and give that a retweet real quick. Theo, everybody go give Theo a follow. All right. Covers the Cardinals, I believe. Looked over the cheers on defense to see a Hopper interception. Looks to be that Trey Dean tipped it, so we just talked about it. Now, here's the bad news. You ready? We went from putting him in the Packer Hall of Fame. We're going to cut his ass now. You ready for this, Jacob? Trey Smack, 2 of 5. Missed a PAT from 45 and then from 58. The long was short and to the right. All right? Woo. So, let's continue.
Caught him!
So, I love this. He's exactly what I said. He's just a gamer. Said Alec of Trey Smack in the field goal period. Wide left, good. Wide right. So missed those 3 there. It sounds like Golden gets a step on Burke and Baker again, but Love's throw falls a few yards too far, so he overthrew Golden there. Trey Smack field goal period. Here we go. All right, at least he's a gamer, said Rob Domofsky. From 33, wide left. He was good from 38. He was wide right from 45. He was good from 53 and short to the right from 58. So that's the 2 of 5 we talked about. So a rough day for the kicker today. All right, it is what it is. Kraft got bumped and 2 sides are shoving. No hot tags to a LaFleur yet. He said he was going to be tagged. He's told the players, tag me in and I'll take my brother to the 50-yard line. So Tucker Kraft, surprise, surprise. We knew it was either going to be Tucker Kraft or Zaire Franklin in the middle of any kind of scuffle that happens, right? So continuing here, first significant incident, Tucker Kraft got knocked down while blocking and didn't appreciate it. Some shoving ensued, but no punches thrown. Kevin Robinson with the tweet says Marshawn Lloyd trucks a Cardinals player, leading to a couple other players getting chippy, and the first real fight breaks out. Coaches separate both sides quickly. So here we go. Regardless of the missed throw there by Love, Golden looks great so far, said Alec. I'm just waiting for the fight to break out here. Let's see Andy Herman's take on it here, okay? First real skirmish between the Packers offense and Cards defense gets separated pretty quick, no major issues. Love play action pass, takes a deep shot down the field to Wiley, easily picked off. Not much success targeting backup tight ends today. Love to Golden, complete on an out route. So both of Love's interceptions were to Dabney and now to Wiley, right? You started the show off, Jacob, going, man, tight end, I want to keep an eye on tight end. Not a good day for the tight ends. Maybe you go try to pick one up somewhere, Could be the case. Because, again, this isn't a great Cardinals team, right? I don't want to overreact on a couple plays, but it is what it is. Everybody confirmed
that's what Biz is saying right here.
Go ahead, yeah. Go ahead, man. You're good.
They said Packers playing well, but the Cardinals might be the worst team in the NFL.
Right. Let's see here. Golden smokes Melton on a comeback to the right. Easy pitch and catch. Another fight. Sean Ryan headbutted someone. Give me my Sean Ryan pick when you get a chance, Jacob. I need you to put that as we read that one more time, okay? Golden smokes Melton on a comeback to the right. Easy pitch and catch. Another fight. Sean, a.k.a. Nacho Libre Ryan, headbutted someone. Another play where the Cardinals got too close to the quarterback. It's a thing, is what Marcus Eversole says. So Sean Ryan said, but look at this hamburger meat on my chest. You think I'm playing these games? I will smack you in the mouth. So Wendell Ferreira getting us back to football. Burton at left guard again. It seems like they're very comfortable with Monk at right guard. So it sounds like Monk is really settled in at right guard. Probably going to win that starting right guard job. Kevin Robinson, another fight breaks out after Sean Ryan tries to headbutt Mac Wilson. So I don't know why that makes me laugh. It's only Sean Ryan would try to headbutt somebody, right? Like, I love it.
Dude, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, it says here, Marcus Eversole says Packers should probably have the quarterback wearing a different color today. Red, a questionable choice with the Cardinals. There's been several plays where the rush has gotten closer to the quarterback than you'd like. So a little bit of confirmation there.
Come on, Mike, get a hold of your freaking team.
Yeah, what are you doing, Mike? Don't make big brother smoke that head here in a minute. All right.
There you go.
Cooper, here's Mike Spofford. Cooper with the pressure. Might have been a sack before a completion to Harrison. McKinney steps into the hole versus the run. All right. McBride shallow cross with Williams closing. Harrison on a deep comeback versus Nixon. Williams breaks up the seam ball for Wilson. So Evan Williams having a good day. Wilson gets between Nixon and Williams on a corner route. Short hook route to Bourne. Cox gets in the backfield for a pressure / sack. There you go, Jacob. Brent Cox Jr. showing up. Lots of back and forth between the first units, obviously. Going ahead here. Keyshawn, or no, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. It says Kenyon. Boy, I got excited. You guys could tell I'm not rooting against Keyshawn. Like, I wanted this to be Keyshawn here, but it was Kenyon, Mervyn Kenyon, with an interception off a Minshew deflected pass. Oladapo with the hit on a wide receiver to pop the ball up. Tip pass to the line is still caught. And then Ryan Woods says, quite an interception from Packers safety Mervyn Kenyon. Katano Oladapo put a hit on Cardinals wide receiver Jalen Brooks, jarring the football loose, and Kenyon dives to pick the pass before it hits the ground. So a couple good reps there from Katano Oladapo and Mervyn Kenyon in tandem. So absolutely awesome. All right, guys. We're over the 2-hour mark. We got 1,170 people watching total. We've got 582 watching on YouTube. Only 347 likes. Let's see if we can get up over 400 likes. Smash that like button if you just jumped in. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. I want to take a second and give a shout out to our sponsors today, and that's the good folks over at Prize Picks. Guys, it is a scorching sports summer, and you can make all your picks in Prize Picks. Women's basketball, baseball, it's all heating up. Football preseason, you know we got it going on. Big tennis slams, major golf tournaments on the rise, and there's no better place for all your summer sports picks than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. You guys know we've been watching Packers camp closely. We've been putting lineups together all preseason. I love that you can take the guys that are battling for roster spots. You can pick more or less on their stats in these preseason games. You can stack it right alongside a game winner from another sport in the same lineup. One lineup, one app, all the picks right here on Prize Picks. So with football preseason here, you got new players on new teams. You got rookies that are going to be absolute superstars. And there's no better place to run your game than Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. You can pick game winners along with player stats. You can make your own lineups. You can go with spreads or totals and combine your picks in the same lineup. You can go for a different sport. You can put baseball with your football picks on Prize Picks. Available in all 50 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. Just download the app today. Use the code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Again, download the Prize Picks apps today. Use the code CLNS to get $150 instantly in lineups if you win your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. All right, Jacob, anything in the comments you want to hit real quick, man, before we go back to getting some of these updates of practice?
Just like what Dylan Davis just said right here. He says, come on, give these guys some likes, man. Come on. All you have to do is hit that like button. These guys are always giving us great content and keeping it real. I don't know why I went into
Goldenberg in
Buckets Goldenberg just came back right there. Yeah. That's right. You see, there's a baby. See?
From this point forward, any super chat that is put up, Jacob will read it in the Buckets Goldenberg voice. All right. You have my word there.
That's fair. That's fair.
Fair. Andy Herman says Burton and Taylor fumble a snap. All right, so this is Jagger Burton at center, Tyrod Taylor at quarterback, fumbled a snap. LaFleur, the Matt version, not too happy. A holding penalty on the Packers' backup offensive lineman. So the backup O-line kind of struggling a little bit. And I'd say they're getting pretty tired at this point, too. They've been going for a while, right? Well over an hour and a half, I believe. So this has been a lot of fun, man, covering practice with you guys, dude. I looked so forward to this all week long. I was like, I got to get work organized to where I can be off Wednesday and hang out in here with a bunch of Packer fans to talk ball. This has been an absolute blessing. So appreciate y'all. Anything else you want to hit, Jacob? It's got to be close to wrapping up here pretty soon, right?
I would assume so. Let's see. Oh, this is one that I really liked. Talking about how talented Matthew Golden is. Said they boast about Tyreek Hill is hitting the 22 mile an hour during a game. Googled it, and Golden was clocked at 23.5 during a game in college.
Dang.
Interesting comparison. Boy, I got some fire under that booty. I'll tell you what.
23.5 mile an hour is insane. Like you hit 21, you're cooking. That is crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, very, very deceptive with his speed too. He's so twitchy, you know. So,
yeah.
Right,
we got Mr. Onk here talking about. I told y'all my nephew is ridiculous. I know him. He's better than people think, and he's big and fast and athletic, and he's almost impossible to defend. Onk, I'm on board with you, man. I want us to keep him on the squad. I just hope that, if we have to keep 7, that he's one of them. Barring injury, I think that he's a lock, and I just would hate to see him slip away in trying to sneak him onto the practice squad. What are your thoughts on that, Clay, real quick?
Yeah, he's my 7th if we carry 7th. The problem, Monk, is we typically only carry 6. Now, it doesn't mean they won't do it this year, but I do know this. He's put some good tape out there. Whoever does pick him up, selfishly as a Packer fan, I want him to be on our practice squad if we don't keep a 7th, right? But whoever does pick him up, they put him on the 53. I think he's done enough in camp to warrant him earning a 53-man roster spot, and I'm sure the Packers coaches will tell him the same thing. Yeah, he's had a hell of a camp, and listen, it's been a good battle too between him and Nair and Will Shepherd. Will Shepherd is, he's a player that flashed. He spent some time on the 53 last year, being called up a couple of times, if I remember correctly, here in Green Bay. So yeah, I think you're spot on with it, man. I know it's your nephew and you're going to root him on, but he was a fascinating prospect. We talked about him in the draft process, and then when they signed him as a UDFA, I know my chat blew up on any live stream I did. Everybody was so excited about getting him into camp. Hopefully he's done enough to earn his way onto a roster for sure, man. Appreciate you hanging out with us, though, for sure. Love to see that touchdown, that backflip just a second ago. Can't wait to see the video. You know the Packers social media team will have that dialed up soon. So hopefully we'll get to see that. And go Pack B-Man 99 with 100 jewels with the high five. So appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. If you guys are wondering about the jewels, what happens is when you hop the video, they have a hot feature. When you hop the video, you earn jewels, and then you can use those jewels, and it almost looks like a super chat here. So we can it's just kind of a way for you to support the channel in a fun little way. It's almost like it's keeping score with how many times you hop up the video, from what I understand. At least that's what my wife told me, because she had a bunch of jewels backed up that she was like, yeah, I have a video every day. And I'm like, first thing I said, are you spending my money on these jewels? How does this work? So she had to explain to me how the jewels work. It's live stream. So that's how organized we are here at PTA. All right, let's check one more time over here. Last thing we're seeing is the fumble. It kind of went quiet on the updates. I don't know if anybody's got anything in the chat that they're commenting from practice. It seems like things might have simmered down a little bit. They're probably getting close to ending it too now that people are getting headbutted by Sean Ryan. Love to see it.
That's probably when the coach is like, all right, let's hit the showers. These guys are when Ryan starts headbutting folk, you're like, all right. Well,
now Ryan takes his helmet off and puts the Nacho Libre mask on. That's when you know we're wrapping this thing up. Are you kidding me? So yeah. Ron Sample with the jewels as well. I've hit refresh 3 times. I'm not seeing any updates. Oh, what was that? What was that? Oh, okay, that wasn't done. Okay, I seen a picture of Josh Sweat. I'm just waiting for that to come down the pipe. Here we go. Now we got some updates. It's 2-minute drill time. You ready for this, Jacob? It's gonna get good.
Go.
Gonna get good. Marcus Eversole, 2-minute drill. Ball on the 30, 145 left, down by 7. Incomplete to Kraft. Swing pass to left to Jacobs for 8. I think he breaks the tackle, is what he said. Melton pass breakup on Golden, flag on the play against Arizona. A sack or a hold, but it was poor protection on the next play. Love complete to Reed for 15. I have no idea what's going on. They just changed the down like 5 times. Big play to Kraft. He gets pushed to the ground. Little kerfuffle again. Kraft has been involved in 2 of these. Tucker Kraft kind of playing the goon role today, getting out there and stirring it up a bit, man. Kevin Robinson said, 3rd big fight of the day breaks out during 2-minute drill. Tucker Kraft gets hit late out of bounds on Arizona's side after converting on 4th down. Flags up. All right. Arizona players started cheering, so the Packers players started charging for the Arizona side. Go, let's get it. It's funny too. All week, all I said on the show was, I just hope there ain't no fights so nobody gets hurt. And now I'm over here cheering it on. That they're just locking horns, man. You love. I love it.
I'm sorry, I do. I love it.
Yeah. So we'll continue to get the updates for the 2-minute drill there. So Kraft, man. You know his agent right now, Jacob. Watching him get hit late out of bounds and starting to fight. He's going, for the love of God, Tucker, please.
Would you just
stop? We're this close to getting the bag. Please stop, sir. That's Tucker Kraft football, baby. That's Tucker Kraft football. He ain't gonna
him and Zaire have brought a different type of toughness to this team, and you got to take the good with the bad. This is what happens, bro. You can't push Tucker is a freaking rhinoceros, and they're poking him with the stick. You know what I mean? Don't do that. You're gonna get the horn, bro.
You don't do that.
You don't do that. You don't say that.
So here's some other Kyle Malzahn giving his take on it here. Tucker Kraft gets popped near the Cardinals sideline, and the whole Packers sideline, offense and defense, taking exception to it. No fight other than the 2 teams meeting up on the sideline. So that's probably why we got a little bit of a delay here. They're trying to get these boys separated, I would imagine.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else in the chat, Jacob, as we wait on any other updates here, man? I like what Lukas says there, though, backing up each other, man. That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Hagen Builders 2606 says Gannon having Cooper up as the 5th rusher might unleash a can of whoop ass like Captain Encino. I'm sure he tried to say there, but he said Captain Instant. Captain Encino tooth no mercy.
That's right. You know that guy's a virgin. I love that movie, dude. It's so good. They just don't make movies like it anymore. That's how you know you got to know. When you officially say for the first time they don't make movies and they don't make music like that anymore, that's how you know you're old, man. I used to hear people say that when I was a kid, and I just rolled my eyes. God, these guys. Yeah, unbelievable. It is what it is. It is what it is. Let's see here. Yeah, Tony Holman, pay the man. It's tough, man, because like I said, I hope they pay him. I think he's earned it. I think everybody believes he's earned it, but at the same time, Goody and the Packers hold the cards, man. They got that franchise tag they can use next year. I just hope it doesn't come to that, man. He's just been the model Green Bay Packer. He's done everything right from day one. He's worked his ass off. He's battled back from. He had to convince the coaches to let him go out there and practice today in 11-on-11s because he wants to be out there with his teammates. It's like if it's $2 million in guaranteed money holding this up, shame on Goody. I'll just say that. If it's that close, you know what I mean? But if it's something that they're wanting something astronomical, like 70% of the contract guaranteed at $20 million per, I can understand Goody going, we just can't do that. So without knowing all the details, it is kind of tough, So all right, here we go. We got some more updates coming in. What a reception by Matthew Golden, says Alec_332. Defender was all over him and he still hauled it in. So Matthew Golden continuing to impress. Ryan Wood tweeted out 2 minutes ago, Tucker Kraft has a target on his back out there. Took a hard hit from a Cardinals defender near the sideline, maybe over the sideline. Since officials threw their flag, a brief dust up, but Kraft is still practicing. And then he commented 14 seconds ago, belief with an obstructed view from sideline is it was Cardinals safety Andrew Wingard who put the hit on Kraft. The two kept jawing at each other between reps. So when you say Andrew Wingard, like we've said his name several times in these late hits today, and my response when I hear Andrew Wingard is really, really simple. I say, who? Does anybody know who Andrew Wingard is? Do you know who that is? Is he a good football? He might be a good football player. I don't know. I'm being serious.
I don't know, but it seems like that Tucker just likes to, gain a lot of attention from safeties, and then he ends up kind of putting their, in the dirt, and then they end up just haphazardly having some pretty bad injuries that go on. Almost it's like karma is a real thing. So watch yourself, Wingardo, whatever the hell your name is.
Wingardo.
Oh, we're gonna give him some.
All right, so Matthew.
I got him. Hold on, real quick. Wingard. Not terrible.
You got his social security number?
Yeah, well, he's had some decent years, but this last year it was a 58.7, so he's probably a little bit upset about that. But honestly, not a bad career. If I'm looking at this the correct way here, he's 54, 68, 69, 76, 79, 78, 58. It just feels like he's fallen off a cliff and he's a little bit butthurt about it. Sorry, that Wingard.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
That's right, coach. All right, Marcus Eversole says Matthew Golden dropped a touchdown in the 2-minute drill. Believe that's his first and only drop of camp, and it's on the last day. A very choppy 2-minute drive, says Rob Domofsky. The Packers fails, ends with Love getting sacked, but also included a drop by Golden, maybe his first all camp in the end zone. Love was under pressure multiple times. Kevin Robinson pretty much reiterating the same thing there. Wes Hawkowitz, spirited 2-minute drill with the one-on-ones with the ones, ends with a sack at the Arizona 4. Reed, a couple of nice catches. Kraft converted near the sideline and then drew an unnecessary roughness call off a late hit. We talked about that. Caden says on X here, Packers offense struggles in the 2-minute drill, come up short. So everybody just kind of confirmed that. Here's Andy Herman's entire 2-minute drill. So this will be good. This is play-by-play, quick recap of everything that happened on that 2-minute drill. Do me a favor, hit that like button real quick. 2-minute drill, ball on the 30, down 7, 145 left, one timeout, 1st and 10. Love throws an out to Kraft. Looks like contact, but no call. It's incomplete. Love to Jacobs on a swing pass, picks up 8. Clock ticks, 3rd down. Love to Golden, pass breakup, penalty on the defense, not sure what, 1st down. Holding on the offense, 1st and 20. I'd love to know who had the hold there for sure. That's to me, that's very, very important because we haven't heard Jordan Morgan all day. It sounds like he's had a pretty good day from what we've heard. I mean, we haven't heard his name mentioned. That's a good thing. Love complete the read, 15 yards, clock ticks. Incomplete on the next play, so the clock stops. A bunch of weird poopy happens that doesn't make sense, but it's 4th and inches now, says Andy Herman. He didn't say poopy. Okay, he said the adult word. You're like, Clayton, you've said that 5 times on the stream. Why are you not saying it now? I don't know. I have no idea. Love to Kraft. First down, gets pushed out of bounds. 15-yard penalty on top of it. May have been offsetting penalties. Looks like they are spotting it where Kraft went out. Anyway, 1st and 10, 40 seconds left. Love to Reed, 1st down. Also a defensive penalty. Clock stops. The drive has been littered with penalties on both sides. First down, 40 seconds left, 0 timeouts. Love to Golden for about 8. Clock stops. Not sure why. Love throws out of the end zone as a throwaway. 28 seconds left, third down. Love fires into the end zone for what looked like a short touchdown, but it was dropped clean. Golden with an extremely rare drop. I know that's negative, but that's going to make him better. That's going to eat him up, Jacob.
Yep.
And I love that, because he has had a phenomenal camp and showed sure hands. It sounds weird. I kind of like that it happened because he's had such a perfect camp. You need something like that to kind of, all right, I got to get back focused here. Packers can't convert on fourth down, drive stalls. Cardinals defense gets the win. So that's what we got there from the 2-minute drill so far, and we'll see if it resets in a second.
Yeah, just real quick while you're doing that, our boy Daryl, what up there in Alaska, if I'm not mistaken, bro? How you doing, buddy? He says Golden's shown that he barely drops once, ain't that bad. I think that to your point there, Clayton, that he's going to take exception to that. He's going to be like, oh, I can't believe I let him get me that way. He's gonna use that as fuel. Some would say tackling fuel, if you want to go back to a reference there to the Wada boy. But no, I think that he's that type of player, man. He has taken such a step this year that I am so excited to see what he's going to absolutely put on the field this next year. It's going to be impressive, in my opinion.
Ryan Wood says, with Cardinals taking shots on Tucker Kraft, it was only a matter of time until the Packers defense fought back. Keyshawn Nixon and Michael Wilson get into it after a rep. So Keyshawn going at it. Now, some would say, I like that. He's defending his boy. Others would say this is what Keyshawn did at the end of the year last year and cost us a big first down, right? So I can understand both sides of that. Let's see. Alex said the same thing here, right? He said, love to see the team sticking up for each other at least. And I don't hate it there from Keyshawn on that spot. You gotta put.
I like it.
Now, if I was a betting man, I would say by the end of this 2-minute drill that they're about to conduct, I'm assuming they're going to do a 2-minute drill as well, the Cardinals. I have a feeling Zaire Franklin will be involved in something. I have a thinking feeling something's about to happen. Let's see if your boy goes straight Miss Cleo in here and predicts this. So let's see. We got a super chat here, don't we, from Mike Z?
Mike Z. Yep.
Appreciate you, Mike. He says, rivalry jersey goes hard. Just saying. I want to thank you, fellas, for all your hard work this offseason. The family has blessed me during a tough time. Grateful. Go Pack Go. As you guys know, all our regular viewers here, Mike unfortunately lost his father this year. So, man, still praying for you, Mike. And appreciate you, buddy. Always supporting the channel and all the kind words and whatnot. So, thank you for being here, man. I want people to understand, like, I know we get thanked all the time for the content we're putting out daily, but we need to thank you guys because this show would suck without the chat. I'm just telling you, the chat is what makes this show so much fun. It has nothing to do with us. So
it makes it hard to be professional.
It really does at times. Not you, Mike. Here for
sometimes
sure.
Mike. Sometimes Mike.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate you, man. All right, let's see if we can hit refresh one last time. I hate how late these are coming in, but everybody's probably compiling all of their information here. Here's Kevin Robinson's take on it, it looks like. He says, Keyshawn Nixon tries to start a fight with Cardinals wide receiver Michael Wilson by Arizona sideline. Arizona sideline clears out to help Wilson. Packers defense goes to help Nixon, but the Packers bench stays on their sideline and avoids the fight from getting worse. So that's probably LaFleur going, boys, chill it out, chill it out. I'm ready to see the LaFleur brothers get out there with some boxing gloves, man. That's what I want to see right there at the 50. Who would you have there? Do you think Matt could beat Mike in that fight?
I mean, he's got to. He's the older brother, right? Like, you got to. I love my little brother, and he's jacked right now. He's in the best peak performance of his life. I could still take his ass. I'll tell you what.
Tell you what, my older brother used to tell me when we get into a fight, and we start jawing at each other. He'd say, "Old age and treachery will overcome youth and skill." That's what he always said. And I knew what he meant with that. What that meant was, I will stab you with a toothbrush if I have to, young. Right. So, love it.
Oh man.
I love the fact that Keyshawn's sticking up for a boy, though. That's a good sign. It sounds like Keyshawn had a pretty good practice. I think he gave up 1 touchdown, right? If I remember correctly. But overall, it sounds like the last couple of days, Jacob, he's had a pretty good turnout here, man. And I hope it continues. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, people may think that when they watch certain segments recently that we are rooting against one of our active players on our roster. That's never going to be the case with this podcast. I don't have to put words in Clayton's mouth. I know that for a fact. We are never, ever going to root against any of our active players. Hell, even of our former players. Like usually, like we talk about guys that go off and have a better situation. You don that green and gold, and we absolutely now have an absolute loyalty to you that you will never understand. I think that's what I would like to reiterate to more guys that come into the league as rookies and understand you're entering a freaking brothership. You're entering a family of people that will never, if you do it the right way. And I think that's why people a lot of the times push back on Key lately, is because it just felt like that he wasn't understanding or appreciating that type of situation that he was put into. Is like, we will have your back through thick and thin as long as you just do the least amount of work to make sure that you deserve it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Alec chiming in here. He's been one of the guys that's been giving us updates on X all day long. He says, "Hey boys, just stopping in to say hi. Hope y'all are good." Thank you so much, Alec. You're a great dude, and you crushed it today. Thank you for all the updates, man.
Great job. Appreciate it.
Phenomenal job out there, man. And following the rules too. That's what I appreciate, right? The Packers have certain rules in these joint practices, so you guys did a classic. So we got some bad news. All right.
Oh,
this is the 2-minute drill. I kind of like it, though. I think it's a good way to end this practice, in this camp, a little bit, like give you something to work for. But here we go. Starters lose both 2-minute drills. All right. Mike Spofford, defensive 2-minute drill. Let's see if we can scroll up. Nothing against Mike, but I want to see if we get Andy Herman's. Okay, we don't have Andy's yet, so let's just get the Mike here. 4th and short conversion with quick pass to Wilson. McBride over the middle to get in the red zone. Campbell with a batted pass at the line. All right, love that. So once again, Anthony Campbell with another batted pass.
Pass. Yeah.
Nixon, defensive pass interference in the end zone, followed by a touchdown on a fade route on the other side. So the penalties continue to be an issue for Keyshawn Nixon, man. And again, we've been rooting them on all day, but it always happens. Cardinals celebrating like they won a real game. I love it. Do that in there. McBride makes a grab at the goal line versus Oladapo for the 2-point conversion. So Matt Schneider said Cardinals storm the field after Marvin Harrison Jr. catches a fade on Cisse for a touchdown in 2 minutes to make it 28-27. McBride catches the 2-point conversion on Oladapo for the win and punts the ball to celebrate. So again, everybody confirming the Keyshawn Nixon pass interference, and Brandon Cisse giving up that touchdown pass. Trying to see if there's anything else in terms of detail. Number 2 offense loses as Taylor's pass to Nair winds up an interception. So there you go. So now we'll have the Cougars going.
Great.
And I say that I kind of like this, guys. Now listen, I would be over the moon if they dominated the 2-minute drill, but this gives you stuff to work on. This allows the coaching staff. You don't have to manufacture this. We need to work on that. You need to work on this. When the players are coming off the field, yeah, the coach is always going to say, "Well, we kicked their ass," right? No, you go back and you go like, you want to watch the tape? Key, what's up with this DPI? So we haven't grown from last year. Cisse, you want to be a number 1 corner, bub? You're going to have to be able to cover that back shoulder fade to Marvin Harrison Jr. These are all the things that I think it gives the coaching staff a little bit of ammunition, a little bit of fire to work with, So as Wolfpack says, yeah, practice is the best time for bad mistakes. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's what Rogers used to always talk about all the time. Now's the time to make those mistakes. I love howling Lambeau or Labubu rises. He says Campbell is like the wacky inflatable arm man. That's, if you haven't watched Family Guy, wacky inflatable arm flailing tube band. Wacky inflatable arm flailing tube band. That's kind of how it feels like, dude. He just can bat down passes like nobody else. I mean,
You want to get a good pop out of Mandy. Anytime we're out riding around or going to dinner or something, if she sees one of those things flopping around, dude, she loses her track. She laughs hysterically laughs. She thinks they're the best thing. The best thing.
They are.
So this one here, I want to hit this. This may seem a little bit overboard. Carmelo, I think it is Carmelo Treviso, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor is a horrible quarterback. They need to see who ends up on waivers. Many people are going to disagree with you. But listen, if you see it, you got to say it. He has not had a good camp. I believe that. And you guys know I was very excited about the Tyrod Taylor signing. I thought,
Me
man, this
too.
is exactly who you need as a backup quarterback. He can win you a game or two, and he's going to be a great personal assistant to Jordan Love with all the knowledge he's gained over the 16 years in the league, including a Super Bowl as a backup quarterback. I can't disagree wholeheartedly with Carmelo here. I mean, it's been a bad. Do you see it the same way, Jacob? Or are we being too hard? It does feel like it's been a bad camp for Tyrod Taylor.
Look, I agree with it. Honestly, I do. And I was just like you. I was very excited. I thought, okay, here's our steady number 2. Like, we don't have to even worry about it. Like, we could actually maybe trust in him to win some games if things have gone awry and God forbid Jordan Love can't come out there. I'm so far on board with that statement is that I believe that McCord, like I said, barring how this performance goes in week 3, I wouldn't have a problem if they decided to put him at QB2. I wouldn't. That means McCord over Taylor.
Yeah.
You know.
Soder says they need to give the 2 reps to McCord. Yeah. And it does feel like that. Like, what do you have to lose? You know what Tyrod Taylor is. What we need to see from McCord is in that preseason game, they need to give him a whole bunch of snaps and just see, all right, were those 2 other preseason games just a fluke, or is, hey, this dude is really taking a huge step? That might determine whether you need to make him the backup or not. And again, this isn't going off of just one practice. I feel like this has been kind of a common theme, throughout camp at least. So let's see what else we got in here. I like what Carter says. Carter Hawkins, joint practice is the best time to headbutt a MF. As good a time as any, right? No doubt about that. Let's see here. Wolfpack says there's so much a 36-year-old has left. I mean, dude, I'm 43. It was like when I hit 35 is when I realized, oh, this is what they're talking about. My knees feel different. Like, you get to a certain age. If you're saying there's only so much he can do, I get that, man. Only so much he's got left for sure. Holmes said he's had a good camp, but a poor preseason. I got to respectfully disagree, Holmes. I don't feel like he's had a good camp. I mean, maybe I'm misremembering, but it just seems like there was so much inconsistency with the 2-minute drills in camp practice because I was expecting, like, all right, this should be when Tyrod Taylor shines. Like, he should be that veteran that is able to take what the defense gives him. I just don't feel like he's and you know what, Holmes, you may be right. And maybe I just set the expectations too high as a fan on Tyrod Taylor. That could be the case for sure.
Right.
So, yeah. And Bates says, I want McCord on the field, but Taylor on the sideline with Love. I know I can't have both, but that's my feeling right now.
Maybe you can have both.
Yeah. If you could take Tyrod Taylor's experience and couple it with what we've seen from McCord in terms of the arm talent, because he's shown some really – those out routes he's been throwing, those 12-yard out routes, is like, that's not an easy throw to make. It's not even at the pro level. That's the thing that's kind of surprised me a lot. But explain what you mean, Jacob. Maybe you can have both. What do you see there, man?
I just meant that maybe they keep them both on the team. Is that possibly they have the experience of a Tyrod Taylor on the sidelines? And I think I saw a couple of different people talk about it where you think McCord maybe can come in as a pinch, or Tyrod Taylor comes in a pinch and like maybe the late 3rd quarter and can give you enough to win a game. Maybe they can scheme and designate an actual game plan for a guy like McCord to come in the next week kind of thing and actually put out a better product than a Tyrod could. But I think it's a good, again, problem to have, to be arguing whether or not our second or third quarterback is better than the other. That's, again, it's a contingency plan where I don't want to have to break glass in case of emergency, right? We want to understand that Love, hopefully, God willing, is going to be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers for all of these games for this next year into the playoffs. Sometimes it's just not the way it works out. And I would be a little bit curious. I wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if we end up all of a sudden snatching somebody else off of a practice squad team when these cuts come down in the next week or two. So,
like what Solder says here with the super chat. Thank you, but he says big problems when I'm looking at Andy Dalton.
That's yeah.
Andy Dalton catching a stray in here on a Packers podcast. You'd love to see it. Thank you, Solder. So here is the back shoulder throw, the fade, if you will, that won it. So this is Marvin Harrison Jr. on CSA. If you can see my cursor, Marvin Harrison Jr. right here, and I know it's small. It's the best I can do. It's not the first time I said that. So Marvin Harrison Jr. right here, okay? Cisse playing press man. It's not bad coverage. It's really not bad coverage. And this is a hell of a catch. Let's watch it. So you're going to see press at the line, forces him out. That's a heck of a catch.
That's a great throw and catch, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Let's go quarter here, okay? So we can truly watch the feet. Did he get in? Some people were saying he might not have got in. A shout out to Baz. This is Baz that posted this clip, okay? So thank you so much, Baz. Let's get it right here. Let's see if he gets his feet in, Jacob. Pretty good coverage, late adjustment. Yeah, he got him in.
Ooh, I think he got him. Yeah.
Heck of a catch. Again, I say that because, not horrible coverage. Like, I mean, you'd like to see him react a little bit sooner. You know he's running out of room there. You gotta get get your head turned around, make a play on the ball, get it. But this is where Marvin Harrison Jr. was a top 5 pick, right?
Oh yeah.
And he's got the height advantage over Cisse and everything. This is such a good rep for Cisse, a good experience rep. You know what I mean? Like, again, this is going to be something he's going to use to make himself better. So.
You know what it felt like too is that look how close they were to the goal line. It felt like the Cisse was trying to guard against him doing that comeback route. Yeah. Right at that goal line, you know what I mean? Like what we saw Jordy do so many times, like that, even if it was the back shoulder throw, but like that comeback route where you just kind of oversell the route, come back and just absolutely dial it right between the pylon. I feel like that he was being smart in his ability to kind of just not necessarily play off, but just giving him like, I don't expect this to come. And you can tell he didn't know that ball was in the air and he still made a decent play on it.
Marvin Harrison Jr. with the late hands, right? Don't flash your hands to the last. That's just a hell of a throw and catch there. So I don't hate the coverage. I mean, I wish he'd broke it up. Don't get me wrong, but I don't hate the play. So good deal. I think that's everything. Let's see here. Joint practice, everything's over. It looks like so. So that's gonna wrap it up, guys. There you go. So the final practice training camp, Rod Demoski says, goes 2 hours and 14 minutes. We've been live now for 2 hours and 40 minutes, and let me tell you, your boy is hungry as a hostage over here. So I'm gonna go grab some lunch. I haven't eaten anything yet. So damn, it's 2:50 my time. Yeah, I need to go eat some food. So appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If you were new here today, thank you all so much for jumping in. I know we picked up a bunch of subs and the likes and everything. And again, the super chats, guys, there's too many to mention them all, but thank you all so much. Mike Z, Solder, the normal crowd in here, everybody sharing the jewels, not your jewels, but the jewels. We appreciate y'all so much. You're absolutely awesome. So if you were new here and you're not sub to the channel, hit like, all that good stuff. Click the bell icon so you know when we go live. You never know. I may go live in the morning some days, later in the afternoon. Sometimes it's late evening. We may do a show later this evening. I'll see what my wife will allow me to do. But I truly appreciate everybody hanging out with us. And Mr. Larry, thank you so much, buddy. Been a A1 since day one. Says, thanks for doing this, guys. Go Pack Go, LFG with the super chat. So thank you so much, Larry. Appreciate you, buddy. Jacob, thank you for your time, man. This is a lot of fun. I'm going to go get this huge video file downloading so we can get it up in podcast form over on Spotify and whatnot so everybody can get it over there. So wherever you get your podcast, if you're ever on the go, just search Packers Total Access or Packer Fan Total Access. Should put you in the right direction to get it in podcast form. So that's it. Appreciate everybody. Thank you, Jacob. My name is Clayton. This is PTA. We may be live later tonight. If not, we will see you guys tomorrow evening giving you all the updates around Packers training camp. Go Pack Go.
Here we go. We're out. Bye, guys.